last we left off. Now that everyone is ready. Everyone remember what happened?
We met Aurora's dad, and
Yeah,
we also figured out something's kind of fucky with the time with what's going on with the news reports. We
indeed.
got some fake news going on.
Got some fake news. You've done some
That's some fake news.
deducing and seducing of your own. No, not really seducing. But
Deducing analysis,
Oh, when you say
data collecting.
seduce, charm person.
but yes, apparently the last words of Father Nicholas Friend, very like unassuming, just starting to feel sorry for him, go bald, sort of a human man in his what seems to be late 50s. Is the one that approaches you all. Tall. He's like around 6'5". Presents himself very well at least, and would have the garbs of like what seems to be a high priest. Just like in the whites and golds of like a normal Catholic or Christian bishop would actually wear IRL. It's like around that, but he doesn't have any staves nor wands nor anything on him really. Which is funny because you see all this from behind the black robes that he actually has on him. He looks a bit like a poofy like jacket man, the one that you'd see on the tops of like snowy mountains and stuff. The snowboarding and whatnot. He looks more like that at the moment because of like just how much cover he has. But yeah, it makes sense. He then says, "Thank you for delivering all this to me. You can get out of the carriage, all of you. You can get out of the carriage now. I'll have a few assistants move this somewhere else. But perhaps starting within the next 2 days, what you're carrying around with you is technically contraband. Let's get off onto the side of the road." And he goes off onto like a just before like 200 feet before the gates, just towards the trees. Do you guys follow him?
Yeah. Das would, unless he's sort of guiding the horse, Das would ride the carriage again just to drive it, put it off neutral.
Oh sh! Okay,
Whoosh.
and I dropped something. Alright, the rest of you going as well?
Might as well.
Yep. Okay. As the three of you follow him, there's already like a campsite there, and two other equally like as hooded and dressed people, and ushers a few words to them. And you see them go immediately towards the carriage as you guys are just surrounding this small encampment for now of what seems to be tents and a campsite and a campfire in this campsite. The father then brings his hood back, and you see like a strange sort of like infection or skin degradation that wasn't present on him before, like on the back of his neck, coasting towards where his coasting downwards towards like where his solar plexus area is, and then upwards towards where his cheeks are. You see like this oddly akin to zombification sort of skin pigment on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, medicine
It's-
arcana of that.
It's a bit odd. What was that, sorry?
medicine or arcana detect whether arcana
It's-
detect if there's magic like a curse, or medicine for like just what's briefly happening. Get it better.
If you try and inspect it, if you want to take a medicine check, you'd have to like go up right close up in his grill. But make a religion check for me, I guess.
Oh no, I'm gonna get close and I'm gonna ignite.
22.
Oh, shit.
Oh well, that's pretty high, actually. Far from anything you've actually been expecting anywhere here ever in a mortal realm. This is something that you've read in the past. You're not even sure which of the books in Mira's castle you had read this from, but this is an odd process of a rare inherited disease one could only have gotten from walking other planes. This is demonification.
Demonification.
It is
Oh.
starting from the back of his neck, and it is spreading like a butterfly.
So what you're saying is he has wings possibly under there.
It's a lot of the back was covered, and you realize a lot of the back is a bit more poofy than the rest. A lot of the cloth is there. You get the sense they may have already sprouted from how hunched he seems to look and how tall he is. There's a look of recognition of you recognizing in his eyes, and he just nods, and there's a gentle smile, and he says, "There is a lot to talk about, but why don't you all have a seat? One of my assistants has made." He opens the lid, smells it. Chicken soup. And it's the same old, at least to Das and Aurora. There is something wrong with them. You're not quite sure. Would be definitely out of your realms of expertise to knowing about him, because he looks cursed, he looks sick, but he's still acting as if the same old, like Father Nicholas. He just starts eating from the bowl that he gets, and he gestures to the spare wooden bowls on the side. So yeah, do you guys partake?
I'll have the smallest amount.
Yeah.
You know, my appetite says otherwise.
That's true.
I'll have just barely a portion. More worried that he might have overworked himself more than anything.
Okay. Alrighty. As you guys just begin to eat in silence, the tension breaks, and you hear the horses whinny again, and are actually led towards Thanatos, and Father just sighs and he says, "So how much has Friade told you guys of anything, really?"
Define anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I know it's must be quite baffling, seeing as how it is you lot. He says, mostly mentioning to Aurora and Das, that are delivering such packages. I don't know where to start, but it seems you have a lot of questions, and while the night is young and you are under my protection for now, so where do I begin? I did declare upon you that the Hydra could not be trusted. Also declared upon you Friade has not really told you anyone of anything of any note whatsoever, apart from myself. He has told me as such that the adventurers that he has put under his employ do not know much, but that is for your own safety, it seems. And as players, you also have many questions about the news, the whereabouts of the survivors, what actually happened in these cities. This is the only time during this session and the entire campaign, if you ask the right questions, you'll figure out more about the story of this region. So, think on it for a bit, and if you want to ask anything, let me know. If you don't, we can move on forward with the story.
Das sort of. Are there drinks nearby? Actually, were drinks
Yeah.
served at all?
Yeah, it's called chicken soup.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
refreshing.
Soup is
No,
drink.
nothing.
Soup is a drink.
Refreshing, you
soup.
say?
Soup is drinkable. Yes, it
I'm
is.
kidding,
It is.
easy.
You
Yeah, it's got apple juice.
Apple juice, fantastic.
Refreshing, you
Or,
say? How
Yeah, I
about
was gonna pucker up the tongue a little bit. Hold on. No. Das picks up the mug or glass of the apple juice. Takes a sip. Rubs the edge of the glass. Well,
fresh and cold, actually. That jug.
fantastic. Way better. Way better. God, can you imagine lukewarm apple juice? Fucking no.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a jug of colding. It's pretty good.
Prestidigitation on the glass.
I
yeah.
already can't drink apple juice. I can't imagine lukewarm.
I have tried it. It is not fun. But Das kind of
cider.
well. I guess to this might not be everybody's a story with at least to start with Friarde's work, right? But most of us came from a nearby city. Got told to go to this location. The now current war lab managed to clear out the dangers and the tribulations that's in it. Managed to find Friarde and started to work there. He trusts us, and in turn we get work. And through the many different people, we split off in our own teams. I nod and look at Finn and Aurora. We spread across the land. Some of us went to the west. Most of us went south. Some went to a Dwarven city. Managed to take care of a dungeon, I believe. I may be wrong. But
Weren't you a part
for
of
me,
that?
I was actually. It was a pretty strenuous endeavor, I think. A little bit surprising, and really shows the might of the fighters and Friarde's crew, I'd say. But we got in there. All the traps that was there, the act went come back online, I believe it said, when we tried to leave, and we had to do some teamwork to get out. That's mostly what I remember. And in my case, at the very least, went to Alhome, discovered some interesting underground stuff in that location, and went to work in the mountains, hunting trolls, I believe. I don't know if you've gained a little bit of a knowledge on that, Finn, but some things happened in the mountains. A dragon attack specifically. This might be off the record, but dragon attack. And the aftermath of that was a little bit hazy. My memory's a bit foggy in that one. Lying, of course. But out of character. And
Doesn't
he goes,
Henry hate you for that?
that's hate is subjective, and it might be a little bit of a overstatement, but the
Does the
circumstances.
threats of your own life overstate anything? Really?
Be honest, Finn. In our line of work, the threat of our lives are next Tuesday, right?
Our line of work? You're a college student.
But Aftermath of
I'm a
that,
noble trained from birth to fight.
Well,
Look,
the
look.
father interjects, technically college student as well as assistant research. And in these lands, that means usually a war
Knowledge,
mage of sorts.
and knowledge these days are what's the word?
Knowledge is
Risky.
power.
Knowledge is power, and power is
Oh.
very, very risky and dangerous. So, it's gonna work.
You're going with the more pessimistic route. Well, I've missed this sort of thinking, that's for sure. The dragons are indeed off the record. Not even the. Well, I'll get to saying that reveal in but a moment. But was that all that was in the? We know of the trolls.
Das immediately pulls out the many notes that he took from the troll behaviors and the encampment and the system that was there. Kind of lended it over to Father Nick, and
My.
and he goes, well, from learning from both facts and a little bit of fiction, a little bit of myths and legends, whatever happened to the trolls is third party. Something might have empowered them and gave them even more knowledge, because if you see here, and I point to the part where they use weaponaries as well as they did, he goes, and the fact that they're no longer territorial per se, they're now more of a fighting community in the literal sense. And dire trolls, I believe, are even more coordinated now, instead of just ravenous beasts, as you say.
Indeed,
But
the dire trolls actually eat other trolls.
and
To find them cooperating with anything really is unheard of. That is indeed terrifying.
the running, at least my personal running theory, is that the legends of let me check here. The legends of where is it? My notes. The legend of a powerful sorceress in the ancient times. The curse of that mountain range perhaps might have a play to it. I'm just trying to be on a whim, but taking any information I can, honestly. And the fact that their behaviors change in an instant, gaining intelligence, is weird enough. But other than that, the dragon situation was interesting. It seemed like angered a murderer, a serial murderer, in fact, and that would be a nice segue into the conspiracy. I look at Finn and Aurora. The running
Getting
theory
hit at the
currently. The running theory currently is that whatever's going on with the Hydra suddenly calling the Sovereign of War being corrupted or possessed or cursed or whatever the wording was. Cover up is the most simplest term, but whatever's running behind the background might be a little bit too intertwined. I say esque.
Indeed, it is. I've met with Alan before. He is a fine, upstanding man. Something has gone extremely wrong for him to be, and I wholeheartedly believe this, be framed. I have not met him in person to see for myself if he is indeed corrupted. But if that is the case, then it is up to, indeed, our combined might as a kingdom to put him down and out of his misery.
Which, worst case scenario though, right? Because I've written it down. The timeline wise, I've met the Sovereign of War in that mountain range. He came to us to offer a little bit of aid, a little bit of command. 10 days later, he was presumed corrupted. Right? Either the infection was within 10 days, and that was enough to, be a wanted man.
According to the official records, good question. According to the official records, it seems to be. It seems to me that during the fighting and the killing of the trolls and their king, whatever had corrupted the trolls, apparently, assumedly, the corruption had started within the trolls, which is why they had gathered intelligence and garnered some sort of intelligence in the first place. Which is inconsistent with the previously recorded sightings of intelligent trolls who were tinkering, learning magic 5 years ago. And have formed their kingdom deep within that mountain range, but have not risen up. All of a sudden, the Hydra has given a militaristic operation in order to clear out such a community due to the fact that they are apparently rising up against us. Now, you might be wondering why I know a lot of this information. Well, do you know of the Sovereign of Commerce? Ralph Lemus.
Would I know? Out of character, sorry?
Yeah, you know the name.
Would I know?
Yeah, you guys would know. He was also, present during your time as well. So he's probably old now, depending on what race he is. Never know his race, though. So
Only
yeah,
by name,
you guys would nod, and he'd say, "The Sovereign of Commerce is the public term. I say we because I am a part of such a network. The Royal Guard spy network, known as the Coins. That is the true incentive and sort of mission imperative of the Sovereign of Commerce, is to not actually manage the economics, but to train spies, merchants, researchers," he says, looking at Das. "All sorts of people that would be prominent, forgive the pun, in sort of gathering information, keeping information, as well as blending themselves into the social crowd, the society norms more. To the higher ups, he is referred to as the Sovereign of Shadows. And the proper term for the spies. The organization was once a branch of the Emperor's Shadows back in the Empire. And since we are on a different side of the coin, we now just call ourselves the Shaded Reflections, the dark side of the coin. We have many names, but we all congregate to term the coin. And he produces what seems to be like a unique looking, very different looking minted silver coin.
Wait, is it the silver coin that we saw at the island?
Do you have it?
I remember it. I'm pretty sure one of us had it.
Oh, depending on who has it.
Oh,
But I was there to
shit.
see it.
Make history.
Check inventory.
And check your inventory.
Yeah, I know I
inventory
don't
or-
have it, but I remember seeing it, and I remember Rosengard talking about it.
Corroborate
Yep.
with the DMs. I'm sorry, DM the players.
23.
Ooh.
You remember Rosengard's words of, "Oh, That's an important coin. It's an interesting coin. Yeah, it looks before all of you had thought of it as platinum, but no one really rolled high enough to realize it was just silver. But
I was drunk off moonshine.
you were. It's disgusting, but you got yourself drunk anyway out of celebration. And then you realize you're like, oh crap! Wait, so there was some sort of spy there, or maybe one of the people you were working with was a coin, or yeah, the dark side of the coin instead. It seems, and yeah, you recognize it, and you're like, oh shit! You make that connection.
Very like expressive face on Finn, like, huh. Quite interesting. I've seen it before.
You have. Interesting. Then
that's what I said.
And yes. Forgive my lack of vocabulary, but that's, I believe, that is all it is. I assume you found it? Or was it shown to you?
Well, it was found on the ground when we were celebrating our victory on the island with Rosengard.
Ah, sealess stand. Then he may be long dead, whoever was there. Well, if next you find it, if you could bring it back to me, that would be nice, so I could identify who it belonged to. Anyway, I am an officer of such a place, a silver coin, and as such we are the first, usually the first, of either the mouth or the ear to reach our kingdom's higher ups. The information going towards the Sovereign of War or the Sovereign of Research himself. So there's a bit of a problem on my end too, since this information seems to have diverted. It's like we have a traitor in our midst. But that's another problem for another day, for another me. We do not know the reason as to why the Hydra himself has done what he has. Framed our Sovereign of War for this sort of corruption. For now, everything is technically true. The Sovereign of War currently bases himself in the mountain range out of necessity and safety against the Hydra. There are his men and a lot of the army are loyal to the Sovereign of War, and such so that they have amassed themselves all in Allhome, occupying it, telling the citizenry there of the sudden news of the betrayal of the Hydra. The news you see before you is not real. Allhome is not destroyed or razed, but it is occupied. But according to the Hydra, it might come true. They have declared it on the news as such. So I have a gut feeling sooner or later the Hydra, for the sake of propelling his own story and propagating the corruption, the assumed corruption that the Sovereign of War has, he may indeed destroy Allhome himself.
But they can't. Refugees from Farshade are there. They did nothing wrong.
Right, but that's a little bit of a silver lining, right? Because if the news that Allhome is quote unquote destroyed and burned to ashes in the ground, or whatever we wanted to discuss about, but meaning that those evacuated weren't exactly killed. Allhome is not destroyed; it's just occupied, right?
For the moment. If it was destroyed, it would only benefit the one who had given out the news.
Which is the Hydra.
Indeed.
So what? And I look at Finn. So what? It's terms of a coincidence then. Just the Hydra willy-nilly calling it destroyed just for his sake, and the refugees from Farshade were have been fine this entire time. Like, or am I too hopeful?
Well,
No,
If
that is
the-
news to me too. So, there were survivors of Farshade City.
yes, me and my party made sure that, along with all the other gods there, to escort them out before the Githyanki bombed it into a crater.
The Githyanki, then. Not one of the... Not one of, Well then.
One of here's is if I here is where the connection is a little bit complicated part, right? If I may, Finn. So, the idea that Allhome and Farshade is connected is not just from the refugees. See, when my crew, our question, our character, sorry, Aurora was with us, right? Yeah, she was part
No,
of this
Aurora
group,
was
sorry.
with us.
Aurora was
With
with you
me and
guys,
my
okay.
group. She was on the Sealess Island.
Gotcha. Okay, so
It's
that
just
shows.
you in this situation.
So, when my crew went to Allhome before we got sent to work in the mountain range, when we arrived at Allhome, we had to deal with some personal matters. I unfortunately got cursed by a witch, by a hag specifically, and had to meet up with a pretty good apothecary to. Don't be so. Remember the hag that we fight in the beginning in Farshade, I believe, right?
I
When we had
remember.
the
Why didn't you
yeah,
tell
so-
me?
because, to be fair, I didn't know about it until my trip back from the Dwarven City. I wishy-washy. I have some notes, but I'll explain it a bit. But
Why am I always
had
out
to
of the loop?
I'm sorry. I'm look horrible at retaining
You're the only
information.
one I
But
kind of liked from the beginning, people.
look, I'm sorry, but currently I'm fine. But again, I didn't know until I had 24 hours left to live, so it's fine. In any case, I had to meet with an apothecary to deal with the curse. And the apothecary told us to go wait for a day and get some more materials. We went into the undergrounds of Allhome, found a secret fighting ring. Don't tell anybody. And along the way, we met a very unsavory person, the murderer that I mentioned. The official title or the nickname that people have given her is the Murder Genius. Her real name, Zhang Li. Zhao Li. Zhao Yin. Fucking Jesus, I am. Pretty much, I mean, hold on.
How much names did you go through there?
Hold on.
It's this one. No, wait, it's this one. No, wait, it has to be this one.
And then Das goes ahead and pulls out the sketch of Zhao Yin and lends it towards Father Nicholas.
And he says,
Zhao Yin, yeah.
I don't know of her personally, but she's a problem. She's a loud and very public assassin that
Yep.
no government spy network can catch.
Which is she is one of at least from my and perhaps our belief. I look at Finn and Aurora again. That she is whether willingly or unwillingly is part of this cog that's running this conspiracy machine. To the point that it is a personal matter for one of us in Friarde's crew. One of us is a Tabaxi commander, if I'm not wrong.
Leonin.
Indeed. You know him.
No. Out of character, I'm telling you.
Oh,
it's
Leonin, sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's
What
wrong.
did he
Until
was called Team Lion King?
Yeah, fair.
Would've
He goes,
been
wait,
Cat
no, I'm
King.
wrong. I'm wrong. Not a tabaxi, a Leonin. Forgive me. But
Oh yeah, big guy, huge sword. Taught by
Matter's
the
got a little
god
bit.
or Titan.
Believe so, yes. Follower Titan, but his morals and ambitions are true and good. But things got a little bit personal when his church, the high priest of his church, got murdered by her. I look at the paper, and as we were sent off to the mountain range, after corroborating with ourselves, we noticed that she was following us up there. And the dragon situation happened because she killed an adolescent red dragon who is a younger brother of a different red dragon, and they called in an ancient red dragon to
Don't red
oversee the
dragons normally
situation.
not care about that stuff, if I remember
Normally,
correctly.
no. That's exactly why whatever's going on in the south side of this entire region is fucked, right? I forget my language, but
No, that sounds about right. Yes.
and nevertheless, but after that situation, the whole dragon situation happened. I got sent early, and um, I went to Arlhome for 2 days. Went back to the war lab, and that was it. News broke out that uh, our Leonins friends, sergeant or commander, I can't remember.
I think it was Sergeant, right? Because he was the
Sergeant.
person who was the main military of that town, right? So like
I
how
believe so, yeah.
Variant's becoming Sergeant,
His
right?
commander. Yes.
His commander. Okay, thank you.
Mm.
As it goes, news got a spread that our Leonin's friend, his commander in the military back in the day, got murdered by Zhao Yin as well. So it's a personal matter for her, but all home is crumbling from the inside out because of this one person. And that spread to the mountain range. Whether it is coincidence that all home is now a target of destruction, both from refugees and the mountain range, whatever's happening over there, it's concerning.
We know of the organization that this Shao is a part of. They are.
Hold on, Clyde.
Hmm?
Real quick question.
Yes.
When I was still like a normal human, was there any talk about like financial troubles that are happening in the region?
No, actually, prominence has been pretty up and up in the economy ever since you were born, and for the most part, you don't need a history check for this, but it has been touted to be like just the most stable place to live in the world in terms of
Oh,
just like
boy.
economy and stuff.
Then he can't be doing this because there's like money issues
No. This is either personal or business, and even business, it's
or ritualistic.
motivated. It's motivated at some point.
Yeah, and he says, he says, so this Xiaoyan has been. So it was not the commander. It was not the sovereign of war in charge of occupying and then executing the commander of Allhome for rebelling.
If we are to believe that the sovereign of war is say the theory that he's not corrupted, right? He's just occupying all home, and this conspiracy and cover up is leading him and whoever's loyal to him to just bunker down in all home, right? Meaning that whatever massacre is happening in there is not by him. If we are to believe that he is still a good man, even if corruption happens.
If we had to believe that, all makes sense now.
I also go ahead and share Finn about the detail of all home and also my
The
corruption.
organization that the Shao is a part of is indubitably neutral. So much so that anyone for the right price can hire their services. They worship the what is you, do you know of the hierarchy of the hells or the abyss?
I've learned a few.
Oh, the Abyss talk again.
Then you know of the lords of hell, how there's a lord for each one. In the abyss, there are many floors, but there are very few lords. The
Right.
hierarchy goes a bit further. The lords answer to in the hells, the lords answer to the ninth lord of the hells. And for the demons, they answer to a king. They prey upon the many facets of the vices the humanoid kind suffer against: murder, lust, envy. Much as the hells do as well, which is why they are so conflicting and they have their endless blood war. These coven of assassins are actually worshippers of the Demon King of murder, unnamed all throughout history, or at least the name itself, the name of the Demon King, purged from history. But they can be bought. Gold, souls, materials, land. We get the sense now with the dealings and the sudden allocation of certain resources and missing pieces of national treasures in the vaults of Nova Era. I can now link it to the fact that these services may have been bought. This Shao person may have been under the employ of the one orchestrating all this. With what you've told me, it seems to me, at least, that this Shao person and the Hydra are working together. I have no idea to what end and why such a drastic measure is upon us, but I have already been given commands by my superiors to work underneath the Hydra for as long as we can. But there will be a shift in tide and change soon, which I will reveal to you now. Finn, can I do a stream? Honestly, like, this is the first you've actually heard of a city being destroyed, if any. Witnessing it firsthand actually was crazy. Why, I mean, one moment you're walking the streets, the next moment you're fighting manticores in the streets, and the chimeras, and after that, the very street in which you first walked in and began your adventure with these people, as well as the place in which you have met many friends. All of a sudden, just mushroom cloud in the distance. Yeah, he continues and he says, but when the time comes, and the time comes in a day or so, when the ex-head researcher has been apparently revived and is seeking not retribution nor vengeance, but to free the people of the evils of this place. Friare is an impulsive but smart man, it seems. We did not believe him at first when he deduced quickly that the real evils and the real sort of troubles this region has comes in the form of its management. We, as the coins, were prepared to flip on them. When we figured out that, and publicly, well, not publicly, proposed the idea to the Sovereign of Shadows that he was going to use his services to spread upon private contracts. And he will use these contracts and contacts to spread the Warforged that he creates all over the cities. And from then on, we will stage the rebellion, it seems. So what you guys essentially delivered? Sleeper agents.
Jesus.
And he summarizes it. Without your knowledge, Friare has already delivered, set up carriages to deliver, just like you did, to every other major city.
Huh.
It's not well known in this region. You don't have much connections to the government, if at all. But yeah. And he continues and he says, this situation has been a lot more dire than I thought. Thank you for giving me all this information. In exchange, well, although I was already willing to reveal a lot about myself or what we've deduced about the Hydra. Where do I begin? This is a long, long story. Tell me, what are you guys more interested in? Who Father Nicholas actually is? Who the what they found out about the Hydra? Or what their plans are going forward?
Well, I can get two birds with one stone. We can first go off with why he's becoming a demon.
Oh, this is taps to the back of the neck. I've had this for a while now. This is completely unrelated to everything that's been happening thus far. As you can see, and you watch as no demon should be able to do this, but he produces like a light from his finger. And then you watch as he gets a dagger and cuts himself briefly, and you watch as he casts healing magic on it and heals himself. And he says, "No demon is able to do this." He smiles. Yeah. And he says, and he continues and he says, it is a rather long story.
We're just more or less worried that we have to worry about that.
Oh no, it's not contagious. You have to be willing. You see, I am not from here. As in, here. I originated from the Abyss. I was born there. I was a wee little bab. Taken, whoever my parents were rather unfortunate to have birthed me in the Abyss. May they rest in peace. And when I was birthed, a 1 in a million, maybe 1 in a 10 million sort of soul resided there. It took pity upon the mewling child that I was and sent me to this plane. Maybe it was the work of a god. Maybe it was the work of a demon. But regardless, I now spend my life upon with the many gifts that I've gathered, as well as well, had to learn a bit of makeup tips and tricks here and there. He says quite proudly, as well as other ways to disguise myself other than magic, in order to hide all this. But I felt like I didn't need to hide it any longer with the upcoming sort of terrible atrocities that is about to happen. Would you like to know about my childhood as well, or are you satisfied?
Like I said before, more or less worried about whether we're going to become demons now. But more or
Oh.
less, this Hydra endeavor.
I mean, well, you see, I always could. And you watch as like his left arm becomes all of a sudden like just
Damn it.
it like hulks up into like a. It pretty much becomes like Diablo's arm from Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, like
jeez,
just
of
a red
course.
thing, and then you watch as it like it reverts back to normal. And he says, "Oh, they're only the arm. I can't do the rest of my body." But for a moment there, he definitely sounded like a demon.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying? You said about the Hydra?
yes, more or less. Concerned about whether or not, what should we worry about this land?
Well, that's a way of putting it. Yes, you should worry about this land. If you value yourselves and your lives, and I will assist you in this endeavor for as much as I can, I will help you escape without the notice of the Hydra himself. But apart from that ultimatum that I will give you sooner or later, I have no idea where to begin. There are all sorts of records on the man, yet most of them were found to be false, of course. There are all sorts of stories that have been given to us as the coins. I am sure some of us are loyal to him, as we have found some of the information rather pointed out, but the ones I have no choice but to listen to are the words from Mr. Lemus himself, the Sovereign of Coin, and in his words. I think it might be better to just read it out. He gets his journal. Let me open my OneNote. Actually, yeah, I just need to read this bit. Yeah, okay, I have the rest in my brain. The first instances of sort of unnecessarily extreme provocations and actions were declaring war to the frost giants that were at peace. At first, it was encroaching upon their territory. The Hydra had pushed expeditions of the frozen wastes much closer to the home of the frost giants. The frost giants had offered some sort of try for negotiations, but ultimately the Hydra was not satisfied with these negotiations, and as such war was declared upon them. Now, Finn, you know of the story to be much, much more different.
Oh yeah.
According to, and so would you, Das. Actually, you would know about a bit of this history, since you would study here. According to you guys, the frost giants of the frozen wastes are a barbaric and savage frost giant people. There's an entire kingdom of them, and glory it be to whatever titan they worship, that they raided the known world. Actually, they don't raid just prominence, although this is their main target. They raid everywhere, and it was then that the Hydra himself was the first to declare war and to actually muster up forces to repel against these frost giants, which garnered quite a lot of thumbs up and good reviews from the rest of the world.
You got that 5-star Yelp review.
Yeah. And then you guys go, oh yeah, sneaky. And he continues and he says, so we were wondering as to why the Hydra himself has not employed the coins to either shore up the sort of to scout the frost giants for their weaknesses, hired us for perhaps the bodyguarding of their expeditions in the frozen wastes. And that's because it was simple. They did not know. He did not want anyone knowing what he was doing there. And to summarize what he was doing there is the act and the what's the word for it? What's the opposite of bless again? Blessed? Not cursed, but desecrated.
Damned?
Yeah, alright.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and he said, yeah. And he says, it was the act of desecrating the ancient kingdoms that were either operating still under the frozen wastes, surviving, or have long since perished. It seems the Hydra was obsessed and wanted the research alts for himself, even at the cost of time. If the Sovereign of War and his spy network were deployed there, he'd have all the information upon his fingertips, but alas, he was greedy, it seems, and did not want any of this information but for himself. So, Mr. Ralph Lemus had sent out his own expedition party, following very far away from the footsteps and the trail that the Hydra left behind. And what we found was saddening, although mostly disgusting. Here's some sad music to go along with this.
Does this have to do with actual the campaign to actually do something from our time playing the Frozen Wastes?
It does.
Sweet.
Oh, of course it fucking is. God damn it.
Long time looking fulfillment.
Long time coming, baby.
There's a long time
Goes
coming.
full circle.
It goes
full
full circle as he explains about the technologies of the ancient kingdoms were. Firstly, allow me to explain what the ancient kingdoms were. In short, they were ancient kingdoms from a long time ago. Well, duh. But their technology was that to be a lot of the prominent technology is actually inspired from ancient kingdom golems, weaponry, defenses. And the reason why the ancient kingdom is as it is now is because of the gods and the titans themselves. The few primal essences and mortals that these gods and titans have cultivated on this prime material plane. The story, as it goes, is that they've made us in their image, and as such, we, in their image, grow, become strong, harness the arcana around us, and worship and give them power in turn. Through offerings, through actions, through whatever we do, it perpetuates this cycle of arcana and it feeds them. The people of the ancient kingdom harness pure arcana, keep it for themselves, make themselves stronger, make weapons of mass destruction, golems that can match the strength of gods, weaponry to deflect and even hurt the very gods themselves. And it was this knowledge that they themselves garnered hubris, and this hubris was their downfall. Long story short, there was a time in history in which the Titans and the gods banded together. But it was not when you'd expect it. It was a long time ago, but after their war of eternity, their war that spanned millions of years ago. No, they banded together much more recently than that. But that's another story to tell. And with this event that had transpired, this is what the Hydra was mostly obsessed about. This is the event that put an end to this age of the ancient kingdoms. A cataclysmic sort of annihilation. Now they lay in what is to the world known as the Frozen Wastes. An endless blizzard and storm of oblivion. We do not know what exactly causes this perpetual storm, but there have been theories. The god and titan of maybe the blizzards and ice have sacrificed themselves to keep going. You know, shit like that. But there were surviving members. The ancient kingdoms weren't all bad. There were ones that surrendered. There were ones that had offered themselves to the very gods as recompense for their brothers and sisters, and there were ones that had nothing to do with it and were spared. These thriving, surviving communities, most of them were dwarven, but a lot of them were underground. One by one, the Hydra had visited these kingdoms, offered them solace and a promise, it seems, and comfort to know that the rest of the world, the rest of the known world, has flourished on without them. As these surviving ancient kingdoms were given resources to flourish, were being aided by the Hydra himself to go on and live. It was not to be the case. Later on, there would be some act of betrayal on the Hydra's part. It came in all forms. Plagues, destruction, assassinations, whatever it took to bring the kingdom down, all because of his lust for power and greed and selfishness that no one else should know what he does. But before that happened, he let the ancient kingdoms live and work and further his research. He used these people. And the end result is, well, it is public knowledge that the ancient kingdoms are toast, just gone, erased from history. That their labyrinths and their cities' ruins lay there for adventurers to collect and peruse and gather ancient knowledge. One by one, the Hydra is currently making that a reality. Sure, it is all for the growth and glory of this kingdom, but to what extent is he willing to go? Now imagine he has done that with the ancient kingdom cities. Is he willing to sacrifice the cities of this land too? And I know for a fact that if you had the power, you wouldn't let it happen. But you are amongst one of the few trusted individuals that the coins are going out to relay this information to. Eventually, you lot will have power, including you, sir. I sense undeath upon you. But yes, including you, good sir. A friend of my daughter's and a friend of my student is probably a good egg. I'm willing to take that gamble. And since you know, Dassar's got the largest mouth you've ever heard and seen in Yap, he hasn't said anything about not telling you, so you should be okay. Sorry, Das.
No, I'll. It's been a running thing lately in Ferrari's crew as well, so I'm numb to it.
I mean, I also did my best to make sure your daughter didn't die on that island after all.
Keep this. Friendship I see right now is rare. You should keep it. You should keep yourselves alive. But yes, that is amongst one of the many atrocities the Hydra is known for. I can keep listing them if you'd like, but that seems to be the most pertinent to the situation. You know, cities and all. Would you like to know more about them, or would you like to know more about something else? Yeah. I love lore drops. It all comes to full circle. You now get it why he's doing that, yeah?
Fuck, dude.
You now know
I'm gonna have
why there's so much of this cool tech in Prominence. Where did it come from? Oh fuck.
Write all this shit down. I'm gonna have to go back to the VOD and write it down. All right.
Yeah. I wonder where that platinum gun John Hathcock has. Where'd that come from?
I don't want to fucking think about
Gerald's sword.
Gerald's
yeah.
sword.
Or axe, I guess.
X.
Oh no. Oh.
The real question is, did Battlestar even contribute to anything at all?
What, the Frozen Waste tour?
Yeah.
I mean, just like the ancient kingdoms, whatever happens in the Frozen Wastes stays there.
They froze in time.
Yeah.
Well, then where the hell does that leave us? Because, like you said, if we had the power, we wouldn't let that happen. Period. Right? And how much does it need to prevent that from happening?
For better or for worse, there will be a large-scale rebellion that will happen. We are hoping to get to at least show the rest of the world what the Hydra is capable of, and so that the rest of the world can act on it. For we ourselves, we do not have the power, but I trust in Friade's planning and in his calculations. You might think this cruel, which is why we are evacuating as much people as we can under the pretense of attacks. Friade plans to stage attacks in every major city, and plans to spread the propaganda, but the proper truth about the Hydra. Of course, we do not know which response the Hydra will respond with, but these cities will be no longer useful to him should they be in rebellion. To what extent is he going to do to? Is he going to spend the time necessary to quell the rebellions safely and without the loss of lives? Or is he just going to erase them, just like he did in the ancient kingdoms? We are taking... Friade is taking a very big gamble with the lives of the kingdom. All to expose the Hydra. He's banking on the fact that the Hydra is not going to commit mass genocide, but we at the Coin, we at the Shadows, we're thinking differently. But we are still assisting him. This heavy bit of information as it hits you. You watch as the night then becomes truly dark. The clouds even blot out the stars. And it begins to rain.
Well, then...
Oh, I can deal with that. You watch as eventually he was chasing Runic bit for a bit. Him actually predicting this, and you watch as a tiny hut goes around you guys. When you put on rain ambience with this music, it's pretty fucking good.
As much as I love to dwell in the idea of analysis and data collection and theorizing, are there any current threats that we might be able to assist in? Okay. Das kind of pulls a different note.
It's
He goes,
very hard to figure out who his true loyalists are, and who are acting under the scrutiny of false information, and who is acting on the best interests of the kingdom. Because what we are doing now, what we are about to do, it is not for the benefit of the people. But if we let this go on further, there will be no people, as the Hydra himself has already demonstrated.
right, Finn, remind me the name of the city towards the west side of prominence, the one that you guys went to?
Do 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 do.
The one where your parents
Yes.
are? Yes.
That's Tempest
Dash.
Bay, and my parents are dead. It's more like my sister and
Family.
the brothers I had. Yes.
Right.
Now
Excuse me.
the next generation of the Gales is there, training at the moment.
Out of character, do we have a map? I feel like I bought a
Yeah,
map.
yeah, you have a map.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah, you
Um,
especially would have a map.
Oh yeah. Dash kind of pulls out a map and sort of sketches Farshade, Allhome, Warlab, the mountain range, and then Tempest Bay, and kind of crosses a line, arrow, X's from 2 lines back and forth from Allhome to the mountain range, and then Farshade to Allhome is another line. So let me just do this real quickly.
Sure, I'll just
Red
delete all
marker
this
as
shit.
well. Red marker as
Ah,
well.
I'm gone. No.
Yes, for now.
No, I'm back. I'm
You're back.
bitches.
Ah,
Yeah.
kill him.
The Warlab, Farshade City, Mountain Range, Allhome. Wait, it's scuffed. Hold on.
C. It should have been
Tell-
E.
Shush. Tempest Bay. Right. So, from what we've at least discussed, especially on our way here, if this Zhao is taking this under the guise of the Hydra's one of Hydra's powerful assassins, taking down Arkham from the inside, especially in a personal matter like this, is a interesting move, right? But I look at Finn and Aurora. Did one of us mention that she went to Farshade City? Out of character as well. Is that was that info from Finn or Aurora, or was that from somebody
Well,
else? I can't
it could have
remember.
been from either of us, but I know I talked about it because
That's right. That's right.
when I was reading the letter, I'm like, I recognize this person.
Mhm.
They were at Tempest Bay when I got back.
And then Das goes, and from the timeline that I've elaborated a little bit there, Allhome and Mountain Range was earlier before Farshade's destruction and the evacuation towards Allhome, right? And then Tempest Bay, she was seen there. Now, of course, she might not be fully connected to the destruction in both cities, right? But if Tempest Bay's next, worst comes to worst, Tempest Bay might be destroyed one way or another. And considering how powerful she is, I wouldn't be surprised if she pushes through the Scorched Land and gets to Thanatos soon enough. This is heavy speculation.
Here.
It is heavy speculation. But if the pathline makes sense in a way, right? And considering Thanatos and its prominence in its knowledge and its data collection, I mean, the Hydra can have a field day trying to take care of the city, and then the rest just follow suit.
Kind of ironic that all this happens about trying to leave this place. They were just talking about expanding the business outward from this region into others.
And he sent them a letter to stay put.
And I did, but that was before I knew all this.
Yeah, which is
No, and I said, if they really want to talk about
laughed out
this,
loud.
head over to the War Lab.
I
So-
lolled when you said that. I'm like, oh man, how?
it might be it might be too late, or perhaps it's too soon. Who knows? But how risky is it to send a warning towards Tempest Bay? Perhaps to your family, Finn.
How much power does my family hold over Tempest Bay?
Not much. I mean, they're they're nobles. They don't act as if the proper nobles of like a proper kingdom, though. They're just like designated as a noble.
They're just
You do
high rank.
own land, you own places, but that's about it. Like you employ people, the people go to you for work, and like you are respected in that regard. Um, I mean, I guess your influence would extend to as far as like if you were to tell your neighbors and your workers to evacuate, they'd believe you. But that's the extent.
Hmm.
As an example.
The real question is Mira in any trouble in all this too? And should she know? Hmm.
You have no clue, but that pink marker over there, that's her castle.
What was her full title again, Mira's?
Sec. I have to look to another person's backstory for this, because spoiler alert, someone else is related to her. I'm not
That is
telling you
kind of
who though.
funny.
Yeah.
That is really funny. Well, how about this? Are they in this campaign?
Yes. They're just in the Ibiskur. Ah yeah, Lady of the
Mhm.
Scorched Lands.
Hmm.
Uh, Allow me to ask a question, Father Nicholas says. What I've divulged so far, what are your plans? What are you lot planning to do? We could use all the knowing, Friade. He'll keep quiet about it for as long as he can until he doesn't need to, and then perhaps ask for your aid then. So, what are your
Well,
plans?
I was raised on the old customs of do what you can to protect the people of this land, for we are not of higher values than anybody else. So, whether I die, whether I live, I will do what I can to save these people. People that are innocent at most. Because if things do get hairy, those people deserve to live a nice life compared to the life I have.
He nods. He just says, "The human in me appreciates that."
Well, believe it or not, I still think of myself as a human, just with special attributes at most. And a downside that's almost done with, hopefully. But the family that I have are not meant for what's to come. They're just simple noblemen of trade. We trade just we trade fibers, we trade clothing. We don't peddle in war. So they don't deserve to be in this fight to come.
You and I are not too dissimilar, it seems. You has within yourself, just like me, something that prolongs our normally frail mortal lives as humans. And you, a man that deals with cloth, talking to me, a man of the cloth.
Well,
Last. Yes.
this mindset was forced into my brain long before I could even walk, thanks to my father, and it has gotten me through many endeavors in life.
Oh, good father.
Yet he is still the same as me, having a curse like this.
Very good father. I wonder if I was any. I wonder if I was any good. He says, looking at Aurora for a bit. I'd like to think so. Otherwise, you'll do what
Well,
you can to help then.
if it means anything, considering how I've seen her in the ways of these adventures, she's looked out for the best of nature, looked out for the best of the people when it came to the See This Island endeavors.
Ah, no kidding.
So, keep that in mind that she herself has done more to help people than I ever have, even though I have influence and fame. It all petties in comparison to the efforts of one other.
Fair enough.
So, if you taught her that, you did a good job as a father.
He shakes his head. For as much of a spy network as I am a part of, when it comes to family, or at least perceived family, I respect their privacy. So, I am happy and proud to hear that my daughter is doing well. But I believed it all the same. Hence why I never asked, but I'm glad the conversation tilted itself towards that way. I am oh so very glad. He says he's got a big smile. Well, how about you, Dessar? What do you plan to do?
I'm still working on that final script. Still haven't gone around figuring out the best methods for what I need to figure out. Recently I've been having a little bit of fun with corroborating and sharing knowledge with the people that I work with and the people that I meet. And talking is definitely not my strong suit. If anything, I either talk too little or talk too many, depending on the situation.
Probably the talk too many part.
Well,
But
well,
consider it a good thing.
Hmm.
For if you talk too little, little you would be known to most people. And with the little known about you, the little of you that sticks around in other people. As I stated before, the other group, sure, Headfree may hate you, but that hatred is still a remembrance that you exist in his life. Same with the other people there. You have shown that you have been helpful to the other people. Whether they believe so or not, they know in the back of their mind, if anything ever goes wrong, someone who can talk their head off and knows too much is somebody to always go to.
I appreciate that, Finn. Thank you.
And
But,
it's only knowing you for one day, too. Well, technically, air quotes, technically one day.
Well, it's been kind of a long week for us. But, I meeting up with Friarde as well, sort of helped me in figuring out that such secrets and communication are fragile. Such conspiracies and cover-ups and truth are not perfect. They are easily corruptible, and the truth sometimes are a needle in a haystack. It's hard to find, and even if you provide truth, it may not be the whole truth. And I think, alongside the script I'm trying to figure out, I think people need a little bit of clarity, and whether people like it or not, I look at Finn. Someone needs to talk a little bit too long and a little bit too loud compared to the others. So, not thinking of any grand gestures or any grand plan per se, but I have committed and sort of dedicated my most of my recent works to Priority in the War Lab. So, for the next bit, I will be working there. But for the grand scheme of things and the threats that prominence are facing moving forward, both from higher power and us lower figures, us hidden figures. Uh, if if push comes to shove, bearing arms doesn't sound like a bad idea, now does it?
He nods. Hmm.
Especially with people such as Finn, nobles that have multiple connections, hopefully, and someone such as Aurora, uh, good-willed, good-natured, always looking for the best in others, and of course a book nerd who always looks for the best books in the area. But we
Uh,
have a crew. We have a crew going into the abyss. Warriors, fighters, brave men, risking it all for, I believe it was one person, right?
yes, a vessel that a god has blessed upon this world to find people worthy, according to what
Indeed.
Friage has said. But the downside of that is now we know that people who work for Zhao are going down there too. Or at
Oh,
least
that
work
can't be
with
any
or
good.
know. Oh, you don't say. It's almost
Oh,
like we thought of that on the way here.
There's no shortage of problems.
I think that's putting it a little bit lightly.
Yes.
Ah,
How
yes.
about you? You don't really say much. And that's par for the course. I remember you. Aurora? What are you
Daughter?
what are you planning to do? After hearing the news that I've shared so far. You can stay and help me. Or you can I don't recommend it though.
Ah, yes. The fatherly love kicking in.
He shrugs and he says, um, I don't. I want to. I want to create a kingdom where that should never happen to anyone at all. Have a kid be born in such ridiculous places. Have someone cursed be shunned upon and imprisoned and used as research rather than be given second chances and helped with their problems. He says, looking intently at Aurora.
Or people just being killed for circumstances that weren't in their power.
Exactly. Equality is a bit much to ask for, but
quality is hard to find when there's a lot of different dispositions people have, lots of
What?
misrumors, and a lot of blind hatred and or blind faith being spread around places that say otherwise and how people
Hmm.
should act.
But one can hope so. One can hope for it, at least. Excuse me. Chicken soup. Coming back up. Ugh. I've had a bit too much. So, what do you want to do, Aurora? You can... There's a chance for you to help out the people's lives here. Or you can be safe and run, which I strongly suggest you do. What do you want to do?
Aurora would like stop and think for a second. I would love to stay and help you with things, but if you're caught with me, wouldn't you also be in trouble?
It's the other way around, darling, but yes, honestly, I would. And, you know, look at me. This is me. He says, like, pointing to the, like, veins that are just, like, creepily, like, popping in and out of his demonification form around his neck. And he says, I didn't want you to live a life underneath. Sorry. I didn't want you to live a life behind a looking glass.
Well, whether you believe it or not, she also had an adventure with one too. He kind of lifts up his mouth and shows the fangs.
Well, our dispositions might be similar, but I could guarantee you our pasts are quite a bit different.
Different nonetheless, but paths cross eventually in life, whether it's intentional, unintentional, or by happenstance.
I know. I just didn't want. I didn't want her to be subject to the same sort of experiments I was, sort of scrutiny I was, until I was pulled by the very person that is now my boss. Praise be upon to him, the gold coin himself. Bit of a douche, but it's a good heart, that one.
Some might say a
Anywho.
heart of gold.
Anywho, has Aurora talked about herself lately, or at all? She's actually not too, well, let's just say she'll be in trouble if she's found back in Thanatos once more. She is responsible for the accidental killings of a few people due to her. Maybe you've witnessed it before in your travels, but her outbursts are uncontrollable, and I have since then did my research as to where these outbursts are from. I've always told her to only stick with small groups, don't be with crowds. And you guys have seen this before.
In
You
the
wouldn't-
war lab after the
Yeah.
fight with the Eldritch Being.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thankfully, none of you guys are around. But when Aurora was distressed, she unleashed that sort of necrotic energy that just pulsed within her. But yeah. And he and he looks to you and he says, "So I ask you again, Aurora. You said before you'd like to help, but we'd be in trouble if you were seen together. You're a big girl now, you can take care of yourself, clearly. Since you're running an apparently matching strength with the vampire. What will you do now?"
Not a pure vampire, just a fledgling.
Well, thought as much. Those ones are crazy.
Well, there is something strange about me that's happening that the master talked about, but that's for another story.
Sure. So yeah, he looks to you again, Aurora. What do you say?
I've still got a few things I need to do, but after I'm done, I'll come back and help you.
You know what? That sounds like a great idea.
Considering the circumstances.
Yes. Unbeknownst to these characters right now that you are looking upon as players, the thread of destiny is woven between Dassar, Aurora, and Finn. It is now that fate has been sealed, that this thread will carry them together for the next few steps of this journey. And as such, I ask you guys, as players, for a decision that you all agree upon. Choose between the major decision. Will you each tell Father Nicholas that you wish to flee the region? Or do you wish to tell Father Nicholas that you will help?
As I stated before, two birds, one stone.
No question, right? There's not a
What's that? 2 for helping?
Two birds, one stone for me. What fame my family has can help to spread the word of what's happened here. Well, I stay helping to fight. If so permitted, at least.
What about you, Aurora? You said you wanted to flee before and then help later.
Yeah, I'll help.
What was that?
I'll help.
Okay. One by one, you'll give your answers again, or you change yours as per the fates have decided. And Father Nicholas just has a sad expression, but a resolute one afterwards, as he nods and says,
I have conditions, though, for my help.
"Yes."
There are 3 things I need. 1, my family, whoever they are, is to leave this region, unbeknownst to the Hydra, and they are to take any amount of money that they need to survive in a new region and build up there again under protection from you or guaranteed protection from the other region.
He nods.
2, we require the help of my master if she's willing to help, for she is in the Scorched Lands, and very strong as I know it.
Shit, she's the lady.
Mistress Mira.
Didn't know she was a mistress. We know of her
Well-
title only. We
Well,
have
I
like,
mean, I call her mistress.
oh. Well, She's an interesting one amongst the coins. We don't have information much about her, but the ones that do research undead and categorize, at least in spirit forts, have noted her to be the most dangerous undead in the region. She just
Unless
is
she's a flying creature.
uh well, okay, good to know. But we have tagged her as well, apparently coined by the very master himself, the gold coin. Um, just footnotes underneath this most dangerous undead, and apparently just likes books, nerdish,
Yes.
bookish.
Very. Absolutely.
So apparently, whoever my boss is knows your mistress, and well, seems they've excluded excluded everything out and dashed everything from her. But it's good to know that such a person could be relied upon.
Well, I mean, I'm a new addition in the past 33 years, after all.
Well, here we go. And I mean, no nod from me needed from that. I believe you can. Just requires the presence of you yourself and yourself. What's of your third?
To find my father, the one who trained me, and the one's power I don't know most of. But if he's like me, could be stronger than me, or who knows what.
Thought you said your parents were dead.
So-called dead for my father, at least. He's been in the Underdark and hasn't been known of since. He used to send letters to my sister, but she hasn't gotten one in a while.
I can help with all these conditions, but I believe before we do that, we'd have to confront Friade and actually get the full story from him as well. Any disagreements? Any reason we should go towards this mistress of yours before going straight to Friade?
Well,
Geographically
Sure.
speaking, we could go towards the Scorched Lands first and then towards the War Lab. But the Scorched Lands are... Although the Scorched Lands...
I can tell her to meet us at the War Lab. She did make sure to give me a stone of sending, after all.
Right. And... in which currently... wait, do you not know this? Magic communication has not been able to... has not worked for a while.
Well, that is news to me. How long is a while?
Since the last week.
Then no.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is even Dasa sending wouldn't be able to work then either.
It is
But-
precisely the spells sending that does not work.
Right, but
Hmm.
as much as I am a little bit happy because it kind of helps with scripture, it fucks everything else.
Yeah, no kidding. We've had a hard time with supposedly the corruption of the Gutmush mountain range inhibiting all magical communication. He says all of this with air quotes.
Well, that's just not great now, is it?
It's not.
Okay.
It's also not true.
Well,
Yeah, he says with the awkward silence.
Mm.
I,
Hmm.
I look. If she is as important as you say,
Well, if
me.
you are to fight in this rebellion, why not have the most power you can get ever?
Oh no, I am all for this. We are definitely going to her regardless. It's just that it is much easier to perhaps go to Friade for something to help um in the traversing of the deserts. You yourself have witnessed this, Finn. You can't really, take any carriages on sand, and it took
Yeah.
you probably, if it takes a day from a green to travel a green square, it would probably take 4 days to travel a yellow square of sand on
Ugh.
foot. So it is much harder to travel in the Scorched Lands. It is also very dangerous. It's essentially the Scorched Lands and the north of Terra Wilds and Spirit Fort are the only like high level places in this region.
Hmm.
Oh, technically Lake Era, but that's just if you have magic.
So we can't just simply. Well, I guess yeah, we can't really teleport, considering
I mean, can you fly?
it would made my journey a lot easier if I could.
There we go. You'd have to walk. You take horses, but they expire very quickly in the
No shit.
heats of the deserts. Yes. If you could find a camel, though.
Hmm.
It's also asking
Wait.
for a bit.
We have a druid.
You wish to?
No. They can summon animals, right? That's what druids can do, right?
Right. Look. Maybe perhaps choose your words next time, and maybe think upon the fact that you almost said out loud in front of their their father that you were going to ride their daughter into battle.
Daz kind of has his hands in like a prayer, and then just like pushes into the nose of the bridge. You know, Finn, that's on you.
He's just not even concerned about it. He's just more or less like having to like he's thinking actually about how to go about this logically. He's just not even aware of that.
and the man doesn't care. What would be the I guess what the hell is our most immediate action then?
The most immediate action would be to go towards the war lab, get more information from Friardo. He's told me his initial plans. Now that these Warforged have been installed in these major cities, we'll have to then coordinate with him and him with this, if we have to figure out once and for all if this Sovereign of War is as corrupted as they say. I think with all of us, the spy network, with Friade and the Sovereign of War, if we are all together, if we are all in on this, then perhaps the Hydra could be stopped.
But we also need to think about this.
Right
Out of
now, the
all
Hydra
the
does not
things-
know anything about this. So, yes?
What if what he says is true? We gather all these forces, and then corruption strikes us.
If this corruption is true, and the
What are
Hydra
the
speaks
precautions
true,
for us? have you thought that far ahead? We gather the strongest forces we know of and proceed to get them in this state that the Sovereign of War is in. What befalls the land is stronger than what the Hydra could possibly deal with.
If that is the case,
What is your counterplan for that?
he shrugs and he says, precisely why I want to meet up with Friado. We are technicality, we are still working. Our spy network is still working for the Hydra. We have no reason not to. We are still their eyes and ears. But a specific set of eyes and ears have seen and heard a bit too much that the Hydra himself is an extreme danger to the people of this land. That is what we're wanting to stop. This corruption, if it is indeed true, then we will have word soon. Our spy network has already begun scouting ever since the Gutmarsh mountain range went dark. Ever since the operations there went dark. When we have word, by then we would have arrived at the war lab. They will get a message to me via the traditional methods. That I can guarantee. But until then, good question. We are still in the dark. Our linchpin has decided not to tell us all the information. He looks towards you guys and he says, he's done the same to you, no? Technically. Not even technically, just in actuality.
I can't say this. He doesn't like telling people anything, and he doesn't like most people.
Oh. Prickly. Alright. I don't know the man. I'd be very interested. We've only exchanged letters and talked magically. Wait, how can he... That's odd. He must have some sort of way to communicate normally. And it's weird. Because yeah, he says that he actually has communicated magically within the past week with Friade. The thing is, you guys have noticed it, both Das and Finn and Aura as well. Oh, excuse me. That there are strange magics in the war lab. Like you can take a long rest normally there.
Yeah.
Time seems to move quite a bit faster in the war lab, but which you guys have noticed due to like the weird time dilation that still exists when the war lab was freed, but it was no longer extremely slow in the war lab. It was just now it's just sped up. So there's some sort of control to it seems. Whatever that place is extremely valuable. And yeah.
So that could be another target.
Indeed, but if we're going with the pattern of the Hydra, probably not a target for destruction. That one. Probably a target for occupation. And since he technically already knows about it, and has already sent soldiers around it, you're not sure how safe the war lab actually is. But you have, regardless, there are some important people you have to get to in this current playthrough. And that is Friade, Mira, and the Sovereign of War. So
both out of character and in character, how heavily fortified is the war lab? There is
Honestly, it was.
from
It looks like ruins from the outside, and then
Okay.
you go in towards the center of the ruins, and there's like a stone, like circular platform in which you take, and that's the elevator towards where the war lab is.
Okay.
That's about it.
So one entrance, no offensive defense on the outside. No gates, warning signs, nothing. It is just ruins and then a hole, right?
Yes.
And then on the inside, I mean, did Friarde have any working automatons as bodyguards, or was it us adventurers?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
he
he had-
eventually got it working after he purged the corruption.
Well, some would be working as bodyguards. How many to count? Noticing them from
Not
memory.
quite a bit. Finn, were you with the Evangel group?
I was.
Yeah, he would know. Friage had with him like 8 of those steel warforged with the hand cannons, sorry,
In a golden engine.
and a golden engine.
How many? Sorry, was it 8? You said 8? No,
8.
8.
8. Okay.
And remember the amount of damage they did to your people? The corrupted ones. That
What do you mean? We just went prone.
Not you guys. To Dassar. To Dassar's
Oh.
group.
Of course
Remember
it was
they-
their group.
Remember they hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were also tanky as fuck. Yeah. Friage was consistently making those during your adventures.
Against an army, however.
Yes.
Oh.
Against an
Going
army.
to fight an army that eventually has to rest and have respite compared to an unemotional, very much
Yeah.
unalike being.
Remember the huge amount of copper ingots and quite a decent amount of gold ingots that you got, Friarde? Just those simple materials that he didn't
Let's
have
be
access to, that
friends
he couldn't
forever.
leave the war lab because maybe leaving the war lab would be bad for production.
Yeah.
Copper and gold are very, very important materials for wiring in Warforged. That's a lot of wiring. I wonder how much he
Mhm.
made.
Okay.
Let's be
Yeah.
friends forever.
Especially with the fact that he only needs to rest a day to get spell slots instead of 3. what we normally
That is
do.
also true.
He doesn't even have to
another
rest a
question is,
day. 8
does-
hours.
Other
Yeah.
than the fact that Friarde has made these very, very powerful defending automatons, would he would he say that the war lab is defendable from the dangers ahead? Right?
Well, considering his stance on things and how arrogant he is, I would say that he himself thinks he's strong, but in reality, it's all up to decision by not just I, but the factors of what the Hydra has to offer too. For if there's already one sovereign war gone, he might already have something in backup or returns just in case. So he has someone of equal power to invade that area, along with the other automatons that have been made over the years too, that he could just bring instead of soldiers. So it could either be a stalemate, a brute force attrition to see whose are built better, or the fact that one person leading with a group of automatons is strong enough to simply overthrow one old man who's been kept inside of a underground dungeon for 70 odd years.
Yeah. Yeah, you
That
guys
is
would put
for
together
something to
like
decide.
with the way they've talked about the Hydra. The Hydra wouldn't just simply destroy the war lab and just like earthquake it and
No,
be done
no,
with it. I mean, it's
no,
so
no,
easy
that's
to do
different.
that. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
it is a valuable resource. And there's only
from-
one entrance. So yes, the war lab seems to be, if anything, maybe the perfect defense against your current situation.
Question. When it comes to the Hydra, has his emotions been shown yet? Like, is he prone, if things aren't going his way, he just simply throws it aside or simply tries to find a shortcut?
I've seen him once. and the rest of you have seen him in the newspapers.
Hmm.
Don't know his face. Just white mask.
Cobra. Sorry.
White mask, and what seems to be behind the mask, at least, just like it is just a plain white mask, like the ones you'd find on. It's like the front part of a mannequin's face, essentially.
Hmm.
Plain white mask and like short, slick back hair. Appears to be human. Human ears. Human jawline, if that even exists.
It does actually in your report, at least.
Oh,
Huh.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess-
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if
I
you
hate
can't
it, but-
see his expressions, what about the way he speaks?
Sure.
Surely your spies have had to the pleasures
yeah.
of talking with him.
Oh, he shows emotion. The Hydra can apparently joke around, give speeches when needed, can embody passion. We refer to it still not as a creature, but like as a person. It's still. I guess I shouldn't be calling it, but they still, operate.
Well, as Stance says, if this person wishes to go through actions so unforgiving, it is safe to assume that this so-called man has become a being of power and wants more in life. So I will be referring to Hydra as an it for now, at least in private terms.
I believe the saying goes, human perhaps, humanity does not.
So yes, what are its emotions when it speaks? And has your people been able to decipher whether or not they're true or not? Or is he just that much of a two-faced liar that he can simply talk through people?
It's hard to gauge anyone. We don't have any true beads on. Well, been no research on it. There's no indication to actually read anyone without knowing their facial structures and things first. You can't really discern a lie if you don't know how their features look. Apart from the spells, of course, but
It's easy to discern a lie when it comes to the way people speak. Double meanings and double speaking is a way where they say something and mean the complete opposite.
well, that would just again, it just depends on what they talk about. The Hydra's talked about on lots and lots of things in his speeches, but I'm pretty sure there hasn't been any speech on, oh, I'm going to. Hello, it's me, I'm the Hydra, I'm going to destroy a city, but this is
No,
why I'm
but-
going to destroy a city. There hasn't been
But
any of that.
the way he talks about defending the region, the way he talks about stuff like that.
Oh, well, I mean, it's clear on.
Looking and reading into what it properly is.
I believe it doesn't even have to come from his words alone. He hasn't given speeches on them. But he just taps the newspaper he's been showing every now and then. It's clear enough. There is propaganda here, but these are just words. You ask another good question again, on which I do not have the answer to. I'm afraid you're going to have to talk to him yourself.
Ah, yes, let the person of undead origin, a vampire fledgling of all things, speak to the man who can simply look at me and make my existence non-alive, more unalive than I am. Surely that can go well.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, you never
doesn't
know.
know.
I don't want to die!
Here's the thing. I believe he has suspicions in all of us that are affiliated with the kingdom. You lot are, at best, citizens of this fine country. He will not know of you until you show yourself to him, and even then, depending on what you say, you might get away with it. I mean, imagine if you read this newspaper without knowing everything that I've said.
Or without going through the experiences we have had,
Exactly. The Hydra comes along as
we would be none
very-
the wiser. We'd be as
Yes.
mindless as the sheep of the people right now
Yes,
that have read the
exactly.
paper.
yes, exactly. So I do not have an answer to your question as to if the Hydra is a two-faced liar. Because are they? Are they not?
Yet
This
it comes
information
back
that we
to
have,
question.
some of it may not even be true. Some of it, quite a bit of it is speculation.
Well,
and
what
the
best
new-
then to turn speculation into truthhood?
Yes, that's why I said the best way would be to talk to him directly. But of course, to do that. And here we are. I digress. You
So
see
many-
now why this man is extremely dangerous. This has been all. Even if people can do something about it, we will earn the ire of all the people that believe that the Hydra is in the right, because, like you said before, in the minds of those that are none the wiser.
Not none the
Hydra-
wiser, just in sweet bliss of belief.
Same difference. Those that are that indeed. If some sort of rebellion were to start, the perceived enemy would very much be, in the eyes of most of the people of this kingdom, will be those that rebel. Which is why I am to collect the plans going on ahead. I am the middleman when it comes to the Shadows and Friare. And yes, that is why we need to be very careful about who we spread this information to.
Well, Das, I believe the one time to not speak loudly and a lot is about a subject like this. Agreed?
Das shows the notebook that he's been cataloging this entire conversation on, and he stopped before this entire topic. Already had my notebook sealed, so not
Sure
writing any
wasn't
of this
sealed,
down.
you just ran out of paper.
Oh, trust me, and then just the next few pages completely empty. I've still got a lot, and
Ah,
and he shows like ding ding ding, like 3 glasses of ink bottle. I don't run out. Trust me.
well, good, because in the inevitability of us being found out, it's good to have written documentation of everything that's happened. So, I ask this. Get copies of this man's work, of everything that has happened, and everything that has been logged. And I want a way to mass spread this throughout the region.
Oh, just in case we perish, we've already been on the. We've already began sort of producing the catalogs of the records of the ancient kingdom troubles and stuff.
Well,
But we can
about the
include
people of the land. Because they will believe more of the people of the land who live there with them than the works of people who went behind their backs on information that they've held out on. They'll believe more of the people that they can share common faiths with.
Indeed, I was about to get to that. We will, since it has been now revealed to me that there are better, I mean, sort of a more clarification as to what the dealings were on the Gutmush mountain range in Farshade City, we will include that in the reports as well. We just have to pray most of the people in this region can read, which, thanks to the Hydra's push on public education, thankfully, lots of people can.
Well, I mean, Of course, they have to read. They have to know how much money they're making. I mean, look at the markets after all.
Fucking cut him.
That's a completely different place there, my friend. You are
Well, if a den of thieves, murderers, and what else can be there can know how to read, write, and sell stuff.
actually you are
It's-
very far off the mark. They only know how to sell stuff. Quite a lot of them don't actually know how to read. Personal experience.
I see.
Well, perhaps it's time to change that in a bit. Fucking.
Well, I mean, good luck trying to force people like that to go to school. They're not like you, very eager to do much.
Oh, quite a bit of them were interested in learning. It's just that they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to. When I speak personal experience, I was sent there as part of
Did
some
you
sort
try
of-
and advertise your school?
well, as part of the vocation and advocate as to the Hydra was wanting volunteers as to petition the public education system towards the less affluent folk as well as the less reachable folk. And that included sending someone to the markets, and I believed I volunteered for it, alongside many others. Only one died.
Well, that is surprising.
Indeed. And we had a decent response. We weren't outright rejected, which was a very big surprise to us. So,
Well, how about... Well, I mean... If these lots aren't really the smartest bunch, then perhaps the bosses who lead them are, and you can win them over by doing so.
indeed. Although those talks are up to the Sovereign of Shadow himself, as well as those those underworld syndicate bosses. Lots are already happening behind the scenes as we speak.
Well, at least it's good to know that there was a plan to begin with instead of just, hey, we're starting the revolution, who's with me? What's the plan?
No.
We don't know yet.
Not quite, of course. As well as well, you'll have your answers soon. We just, due to no magical communication, I don't have everything, and we'll get everything once the scouting in the Gutmarsh mountain range has been completed. And if the Sovereign of War is to be trusted.
There's already a new Sovereign of War being announced.
Not that I know of. And normally takes a while for one to be appointed. Usually even years after one has perished or
Well, surely there's always one in training for when the inevitability comes, right?
yeah, they usually pluck it from the current captain of the Royal Guard. That's usually the easiest way to go about it. But, well, the past couple of Sovereigns of War weren't even from the Royal Guard themselves. Just champion of the people.
People that they could have faith in.
How many people do you think is in Alham right now with the Sovereign of War?
I don't know off the... pains me to admit this as your professor. Don't know the data and statistics of the cities of this region.
Well, how many people, refugees, went to Alham?
I mean, you should have the numbers, right, Finn? Or
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
But yeah, you didn't really know.
Well, I mean, I should have done a head count at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of that happened.
and without any funding, we wouldn't
Well,
know.
considering the fact that I was the one to speak to almost all the people at the War Lab when the refugees showed up there before they left for Alham, I should have gotten a good amount of that because some of them stayed and some of them left. So how many stayed at the War Lab and how much can I subtract from the total amount that came?
You just wouldn't have a clue because you never. He did talk to a lot, but he never exactly did a head count. Nor had the thought to at the time.
So it's suffice to say I can't do a history check on it.
You can't, but it's a lot. It's more than 80% of the refugees that went all home. That's for sure.
Das hasn't been in the War Lab a lot per se, but how many active members do we have in the War Lab? Both merchants and or travelers and adventurers in the War Lab.
Not much in any of those, honestly. Just
It's mostly
citizens.
plantation farmers.
Yeah,
Okay,
citizens of the kingdom and hired plantation farmers from Tempest Bay, from the refugees at Tempest Bay that had to retreat from the Drow attack.
I do remember we brought them back to that.
Yep.
It's definitely under. It's definitely under 100. Is it under 50?
It's under 100, but more than 50.
Okay. Good. Okay. Noted.
Yeah, and they're all just they're all cultivating the land around the War Lab and stuff. So it looks
Instead of
like
the
just
War Lab
a
itself,
small town that's just beginning around the War Lab, around these
Yeah.
ruins.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and
Which might attract more
to make
attention.
sure that they're actually not touched by the government of prominence, they are technically all employees under Triade.
Yep.
They are employees under either Rati or Firade.
Yes.
This might be a
And
bit
technically me too, if I were to employ some of them.
Yeah.
This might be a bit early. Talking to Nicholas, from Nicholas, sorry, but it might be a little bit too forward as well. Especially we just got back and trying to figure stuff out as well. Do you happen to have any records of population numbers in most of the cities in prominence?
Not off the top of my head. Of course, we'd have them as papers, but
Where are the data? Is it still in the same place in the city, or is it?
oh yeah,
has it
just
moved?
walk on in and just go and Professor Lila's a bit of a dear, so she should help.
Understood. Got a letter from her recently. I don't know if you got my letter before we got here, but
You guys probably travel faster than the couriers,
unfortunately. Well,
perhaps, depending on the rush.
thankfully,
yeah.
I've gotten the letter from Professor Lila, so at least we're acquainted professionally.
She has since then taken up my post. I am more of a proper researcher now in terms of
Robotics.
profession. Oh, did you hear that? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just says she's replaced him, and he is now more of a researcher in terms of official documentation in profession.
Out of character, what is his position within the School of Phantom? Sorry.
He was before he was the professor of magical creatures, as well as necessary. This is an actual subject. Necessary tertiary education. Very like general broad scope, but his speciality was magic creatures.
Necessary.
The only reason you actually were in this is a pretty racist thing to do, but the only reason you were in his class was because you were satyr. Technically, you are his research subject.
Honestly, Das kind of gets reminded of his position, and he goes, "Hold a damn minute, wait." Father, not let's be a little bit too forward, right? Was I in your class by happenstance or full intention?
With full intention. It's because you're a cleric of Ardeen, yes?
Right.
I too am a cleric of Ardeen.
Again, true. You said your if I remember correctly, your position was professor of magical creatures.
Yes?
Right. I go ahead and like touch my two horns, just looking up to the ceiling. Right. Okay.
Don't give yourself too much credit.
I'm not.
You're a creature, you're not
I'm not.
magical. Ah,
I I thaumaturgy the nearest window. I beg to differ, but you know.
there's no window around. You're
Ah,
just tense, and you're in a tiny hut.
I go ahead and alter the appearance of my eyes to like iridescent, like just shimmering, and I go, I beg to differ, and then I blink and it goes back to normal.
Because not in that sense. That is
I
more of
I
the
understand. I'm pretty good, like professor. It's fine.
unicorns, variants of beasts, that sort of deal.
Mhm.
Although that is funny, under the curriculum of magic creature study, they actually, the board, actually put you in my class because of that reasoning. Just because you were Fey. So not because of my intention was because you were the same, uh, sort of worshipper of the same goddess. But the school's intention was a bit racist. I apologize.
I think this day and age is not exactly surprising in some ways, but at the same time, unfortunate. No matter how you look at it. But
Actually,
despite
well,
that,
it's not. It's not
but despite that,
It's not offensive to me at all. It just strikes me as weird that they've decided
no
that.
silver lining. At least I had a great teacher, so I'll take it.
Thank you very much.
Hmm.
Ah, that's why I had a fairy as a student. Okay, he just light bulbs.
Oh my god! Wait, I've seen her, but getting in your class before when we switched classes. What's her name?
That was she was a upperclassman of yours.
Ah, that's why. Yeah. Well, only seen her in your class. Honestly, I've never seen her anywhere else.
She's gone back to the Feywild, I believe, as again a researcher of sorts. P.S. She's part of the spy network, but that's fine. You know, for her
Mm,
privacy, I will not divulge her name, but she does good work for us.
Of course. Well, um, out of character within Thanatos, where is the place where I do want to look for some info and knowledge and shit? Just
That'd be in the very simply named. The Hydra is very simple in his naming processes. That'd be just the
we got name
Thanatos Learning Institute.
the middle.
Yeah, the
I
middle
believe.
bit. Yeah, essentially. They are also just a bunch of cathedrals. To the many, it is either to the gods and goddesses of knowledge and arcana.
Understood.
Strangely enough, you would know this too. There's a
Fine,
dark
man.
god there that's also being respected, not quite worshipped, but no one else in the entire world worships this deity. This is, let me pull up that religion and Adrash document. Okay, so the gods there are Mesto, the god of halflings and gnomes, and to them and to the halflings and gnomes specifically, the god of magic. There is Maya, which you have seen the symbolism on Ezekiel before. The nature god of life. There's Ara, the nature god of the nature goddess of death. There's also the symbol of Ardeen, and then the symbol of Draxal that you've seen around. Draxal is the one that should be illegal mostly everywhere else in the world, because the
Okay.
Draxal is the dark god of trickery and confusion,
Noted. Noted.
the complete opposite of Ardeen, the dark goddess of tranquility and knowledge. But in that
Noted.
opposite, they still cover that spectrum of knowledge.
Question, Clyde.
Yes.
Is there a god of fates in your world?
Yeah. He doesn't have symbolism. There's two of them. There is the Maker and the Mad Merchant.
Huh. The Mad Merchant is
go.
also a god of fate.
Technically, because he's a god of deals.
There you fucking go.
The more or less I'm thinking of is like the god. You know about how in like Greek mythology, there's the fates that like weave together stories already told.
Specifically, that would be the Maker.
The Maker.
And is that known about it here too, at least?
No, the Maker is new in the pantheon.
Hmm.
But in this newest pantheon, the Maker would be the most known about. But it's still relatively new.
How new?
None of the players know about it new, except for one.
Let me guess, guys.
Nope.
Oh, well,
Dizzy.
that
Yeah, it's Dizzy. He has
Huh.
literally an artifact of the Maker.
Well, there you go.
well. When it comes to it, I unintentionally came up with something to call us, and it might ironically mention that Maker, whether it's true or not, though. But to continue on, I was just asking this out of character for the fact, because I've been planning something to say about this. But continue on with your explanations between you two.
Yeah. Oh, I just got a message. Yeah, guys knows about it too. Apparently, he's been
Oh.
warned. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh,
I mean, it makes
okay, there you go.
sense.
Yep. Anyway, yeah.
How not to rush things, right? But I look at Finn and Aurora. We are spending the night here at least, right?
Yeah, you guys need a rest. Have you guys ever
Well-
been on a long drive? Man, fucking.
Well,
You guys drove that carriage for ages.
we need to find a place safe because, as you said before, she's not really welcome here.
Father Nicholas just says, "Oh, this is safe enough." The dome as well, but I
The
recommend
orb.
one of the tents. This dome is just extra precaution, just in case. Well, it doesn't really block too much, but just in case the Hydra were to listen in all of a sudden and smite us from above.
Isn't that what the Emperor does?
I'm pretty sure at this point both of them can do that. But yeah, I guess you're right.
At this point, they're the same power level.
I'd like
But
to
I mean,
think so
isn't
too.
isn't one literally the champion of like two gods? Well, this man is just like, yes, magic.
I mean,
I mean,
Not
to
to be
me, I feel like
patri-
the Emperor's smites would hurt more than probably the Hydra's, but they
And not to
probably
be-
still do the same.
not to be patriotic or anything, but I value the Hydra's magics above the Emperor's fists. Just a personal opinion. I'm not too proud of that opinion, but yeah. Just some regional bias.
Regional bias. Oh,
All right. So, it's at this point the conversations die down. Ah, yes.
And and as the conversation kind of dies down, Das kind of also just pulls out a nice little note. Just in case the institute isn't really fully open for anybody. Do I refer to Professor Lagila for a little bit, or and so on, and kind of ask for like general access if possible?
I can just walk in and get you your data if you'd like. If that makes you guys more comfortable. In fact, that would be a bit more. I'd have a bit more
Safer?
access to everything else compared to a student. So, allow me. Um,
All good.
I can do it tonight while you guys rest, and in the morning I'll have whatever you need. So, just write down on a piece of paper what you want me to access.
I guess we're corroborating. I guess Das would want Das would want if there even exists, right, the history of the Sovereign of War and his various missions and jobs as of late. He would be curious as well of um the recent goings on from 10 days ago, if it has uh reach any data collection networks, especially from Thanatos.
I mean, I can tell you this now. Any records of operations would be classified and
Of
out of
course.
reach for school.
Wow, who would have thought?
What else? What else?
Would have
Letting
thought,
the local teenagers decide the fate of
From before,
special
from before,
information.
population-wise, from in major cities, the most recent updated data on that.
Yep.
The if it's possible, actually, the ruins history of the war lab. Actually, if it's there,
Sure.
if it's possible. I know I could just ask for Friarde, but having factual written down data might be important in the future. The Mutgosh mountain range history, if there is any, myth and legends, as well as facts regarding it, as that was kind of the catalyst for a lot of things. The Sovereign's corruption, the dragon mess, Zhao Yin going off the rails, and the history of a Titan worshipping in Allhome as well, if there is any religion specifically, just any religion regarding the Titan.
Yeah. Eventually, you'll get this after your long rest.
Mhm.
So
Anybody else? Actually?
Yeah,
And
Allhome.
then-
Allhome has all sorts of Father Nicholas will tell you these right away. Some of them. Allhome has always been home to all sorts of
beliefs.
sort of religion. It's the Vegas of prominence,
Fair.
essentially. Gutmosh Mountain Range has had none of the records actually. It's all myth, no facts about the stuff about the Gutmosh Mountain Range, and the recorded sort of corruption stems from the corruption of the Dragon God, the one that's been affecting other regions as well.
Okay, that is good to know. Alongside that, sorry to retcon this, specifically Banshee of the Peaks, specifically her.
Yeah,
if there is
myth.
any legends of her, myth, right? Myth.
Yep.
Myth. However, myth. The story of that myth specific, well, if it's possible.
Yeah, no, you get the same myth as you got with the other checks and research in Allhome. You got the same stories. It's just thought to be some sort of a long dead like elven archmage that has haunted the peaks of the Gutmush mountain range.
So no.
Yeah, it doesn't, you can now cross that off of like it. That really doesn't really make sense going towards helping out the trolls, because that's Banshee of the Peaks. The trolls were underground.
Fair.
So yeah, you can cross that out. As for the rest, he does get it. The population of Allhome, as it stands, goes to 300,000.
Okay.
That's citizens. That's citizenry. It gets
Uh,
a lot of traffic from other regions.
The population of Alhome is 200,000. Population of Farshade City,
20,000.
20,000.
20,000.
Yes.
Considering, say, depending on how quick the evacuation was, and the surviving of before that explosion, because I'm assuming the evacuation was before the explosion. Everybody got out, right, in time.
Yes.
Everyone that
Okay.
they could. Yeah.
But there would be some casualties of the abomination rampage.
Oh yeah, of course. Lots.
That would be,
It's safe to
say,
assume maybe 2,000.
yeah, I was gonna say 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 ish. So that would be 1,800 to 1,700 that was able to get evacuated or refugeed into Warlab and then moved to Allhome. Allhome gets an extra that much. So
Safe to say,
300.
yes.
Well, how much of a good
320,000.
percentage do you think stayed in the War Lab? Because now we're considered a town.
So
workers.
and that again, the people working in the War Lab is above 50, under 100, right? But then the people that is around the War Lab itself would still need counting, unfortunately. So say 70 to 80, like 60, 70, 80, plus an extra thousands, and then the rest goes to Allhome.
So
And Allhome is
roughly
being dug inside out.
95% of the survivors went to Allhome.
Which is, yes, that would be actually the safer option. You're right. Which means that would leave 10,000 in a Allhome, ish, good enough, like 10,000, 12,000 to Allhome.
Well, 2,000, we're suspecting 2,000 died, and then whatever probably died on the travel there from either being attacked and tried the best they can to help.
It
So safe to
shouldn't
say,
be
like, maybe a couple hundred might have died on the way to the War Lab.
probably.
It's safe to assume that 50 below 100 stayed, so 95% of possibly 16,000, maybe.
15,000.
No, I'm guessing 16,000.
750?
16,000, roughly 450 left to Allhome, because the rest of that number towards the amount that got out are probably at the War Lab.
Okay. So
Of like
adding-
the possible 17,000 that escaped.
adding that to 300,000 in Allhome, and Allhome is being occupied by the Sovereign War. And if we are to
With
believe
his
that
little
Sovereign War,
battalion, how many
with
troops
his
are in
little
a battalion?
battalion, that is a good question. But yeah.
How many troops are in a battalion in this region, Clyde?
You don't know.
Ask the father, I guess, if he does give any.
Oh, he doesn't know.
insights. Well,
He's
sure,
not
no,
military.
okay.
He's
No,
spy
he's
network.
not. Might have to go back and ask for Leonard for that one.
Well, hold on. We can guesstimate this. A squadron consists of a low number of people, so it's either going to be single to double digits, but the low end of double digits.
And a battalion
Yeah,
is-
you've seen the squadron of the Sovereign of War's personal squadron was around 10,
10,
Mhm.
okay. And how
Because
many
when they went to the
squadrons in a
War
battalion?
Lab,
and the battalion was a single battalion he commanded in the entirety of that operation. So you get the sense, maybe around 50.
50 to
Okay.
60-ish.
Yeah.
And that is to say that he only has one battalion. If he has more than one battalion's worth of trusted individuals, or at least people who trust them, right? Safe to say 1.5 battalion, give or take, alongside with people that maybe not even his, maybe not even under him, but still trust him and believe in him enough to follow him and join him in Allhome. So that would
I'm
leave-
guessing there's probably I'm guessing like 80 troops, maybe close to the 90 marker of troopers that are under the Sovereign of War.
that number would make sense.
Because if you believe that at least half of the battalions that still follow under him would go to Allhome to try and join up with him, there's still a wide variety of amounts. But how many of them are loyal to the Hydra? You know, putting all that into calculations, it's hard to properly make it out. But
Yeah,
it's
that's
safe to
still
assume It's close to triple digits, but not exactly.
So that would leave all home around 320 back up to 20,000. Right? No. Back up to 17,000? 317,000 something? 318,000 something.
This is
And
my guesstimation on it. I was never good with math, but considering the like big numbers to play here, and considering if it's either round or like a nice like it's counting by fives to make it easier.
Mhm.
It's hard to really say, but that's my guesstimation of roughly 16,500-ish refugees from Farshade are at Allhome, along with the 90 or so officers and other military people at Allhome with the Sovereign of War and whatever is at Allhome.
So 316, 590, right? That's our guesstimate population
Something like that.
currently. Okay.
God, I
Rounded
didn't
up to
expect to do math this
15,
session.
600. Yeah, no. It's D&D. We have to.
I hate it. Fuck you,
But
Clyde.
that's the guesstimate population currently with the situation being handled.
The
And
situation being handled at the current moment without us properly knowing we're having eyes in
By
a
the way,
guesstimation like that.
by the way, that's not counting tourists.
Yes,
Yep.
the tourists that came
Yeah,
in because it's
so
also a
that-
coastal city.
It's Coastal
That's a-
City.
that-
It's the
that-
Vegas.
that's a-
It's the Vegas of prominence.
Yeah.
So
that's a
accounting for
saying
like maybe
stable
another
number.
2,000, maybe 3,000 people that are there because, well, actually, how well known is Allhome for its Vegas-like appearance?
It's pretty well known. Not. Yeah. It's got like it's touted as like the best casinos, second to Fairwind City and shit like that.
Mhm.
So probably you can tack on another 10,000 on it.
Okay,
Fuck
but you know
me.
what? Don't worry, because I just got confirmation. If the Hydra visits, the math just says 0.
If the Hydra vision, it either goes to 0 or goes to 1, depending.
And then it goes to 0 because he's like, all right,
And then it goes
job
to
done.
0.
Up, right away. Well, shit, now I'm also thinking about if there's also all these underground networks, how much of it is also a crime ring and also how much of it has access to drow passageways too
There's
to also think
there's
about.
an underground fighting ring already, let alone a whole ass
So,
mafia ring
wait.
going on. So wouldn't be surprised.
Not just the fighting ring. You guys saw the arena and the whole entire bowl. There's an entire undercity under Olholm. Yes.
So wait, make a deal with the drow to get the people out.
That's early in the timeline in the prequel.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a deal
Actually?
with the drow to save the
Wait,
people before
actually?
they're enemies in this timeline.
Hold on.
Because these guys are not really fanatical at the moment when it comes to this. They're still like skinflints here for money. If you
Who
manage
has-
to pay an exorbitant amount, they will do their part of the job. That is to be certain because they are drow. They are known for double crossing, but they want their money and their wealth more than anything.
Who has seen
Someone's thinking.
when was the last drow encounter in this region anyway from anybody, from any one of
Region.
us?
It was when we saved those slavers. The people. It was when we defeated the slavers to Farshade, right?
Mm.
Or not
Yeah,
Farshade,
and,
to Tempest.
Yeah, going towards Tempest Bay, and you guys were trying to chase down that one drow bard that got away and couldn't. And in the
But-
meantime, you were you got the term Raisener in that
Yeah,
fight.
I
Um,
mean,
natural- 3 natural 20s in a row.
3 natural 20s in a row for my bite attack. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still,
Raisener.
that is a plan that needs to be thought of.
Yeah, actually.
Shit,
Considering
bring that
our
up right now.
circumstances.
We could possibly do it to save the lives that are there that don't deserve to die by this.
Considering our circumstances, I think that's honestly the least
That is the
crazy
best-
thing.
That is the
Yeah.
best route that we have because if it's just us three and like whatever spite networks like handouts we get, it's still not enough to save an exorbitant amount of like almost half a million people. But a large operation of an underground city that can burrow underneath the town and spat out as many people because of purple worm rides. It's an easy way of getting people out that are innocent and have nothing to do with it. Am I not crazy, or am I? Is that not a decent plan?
Look, I wish I could comment as a, but I'm the DM, so.
As I want to see it. I want to see it be attempted. Honestly. See,
Friendly,
personally,
Friendly, shut the fuck up.
personally, I think it's great. Like, I also made a pretty good deduction. Yes, this is before the Drow are fanatical.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring this up. I'm bringing this up to the father.
And guess fucking what? We do have somebody from the Underdark, so
We have someone from the Underdark. We have
I think
someone who works in the Spy Network. We have someone for the coin person or whatever, who has this heart of gold, who cares about the people. It can work. He's the one in control of all the expenses up here. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up to him.
Okay.
I'm going to bring this up to the father.
The next morning comes. Hey, he finishes the briefing of the information to Das, and then after some brief discussions, he's still there. And what do you bring up?
So, we know there are drow in this region, correct, Father?
I know. I heard you're planning. You're not too far away from me. Let me think up on it to save you some time.
Thank you.
And he goes, it's not a bad idea. We'd have to, again, do some scouting as to where they could be spat out. I don't believe the Drow will do much. Will do this out of the goodness of their hearts for a global trip. We can pay them an exorbitant amount, yes, but they only have a limited amount of perhaps travel with what they have.
Sure, Father, you have access to certain spells, right? Surely there's teleportation circles that lead to certain places.
I'm more of a divine.
Yes. Divine talk, I know, but to talk of this to a mage to another region could help.
He sighs.
Someone
and he says,
you trust, someone that can help in this endeavor.
Do you know of one? I personally.
Lady Rosengard.
Oh shit. If only she wasn't busy with another task. Let me tell you that much right now, I'm sorry. But only as a DM. He says that could be an idea, yes.
Surely Mira has also other connections too, if we stop by and ask. She's been around for a long time. Surely there's powers at work that she can use.
The professors and the researchers that are not underneath the employ and recommendation of the Sovereign of Coin, Sovereign of Commerce, sadly, the rest of them are under the employ of the Sovereign of Research, under the Hydra. Those that would be significantly powerful enough to teleport vast amounts of people. They are usually they work for and very much are underneath the Hydra. It seems the Hydra himself has made sure that if worst comes to worst, people do turn against him. The ones that are closest to him are the foremost runners in magic. So that sucks. Personally, I don't know anyone. Professor Lila's a doll, but she's also a researcher underneath the Hydra. A lot of these people are good, but I believe they will take the Hydra's word for it before ours, even though And at best, they will stop and think. But they will not join our side even for
Well-
the good of the people.
It's not about that. How many of them know of teleportations out of here? You can send the people that you trust to people out of region and pay them too. It's more or less a factor of people will know no matter what. Coin is a driving factor for almost everybody in this world when it comes to it. Even
That's
the most
true.
despicable of people, hence the people in the Underdark, will work if you pay them enough.
Yes, that is despicable people. But we are talking about good-hearted people. And I think a lot of these people will place their good faith in just the wrong person.
And that's why
I
you
think-
don't go to the people of good faith.
Oh, you're talking about no, I also do not personally know any mages of renown apart from the wanted criminals. Extremely wanted criminals, not the ones that are in the markets.
The warlocks, yes, I encountered one.
No, you're kidding. Well, good thing you're alive. They avoid the Hydra's resistance and gaze, it seems. They take part in random killings around the region.
Well,
Not sure they even go for coin.
offer them the prospect of if this rebellion works, they can be in the fight to fight the Hydra.
Just puts up a hand, like both his hands up, and he says, "Hey, you can do that. I will not risk my life going towards these, reaching out towards these people."
Well, considering I lived to see one, surely he'll remember the face of somebody who's still alive. And considering in my circumstances, maybe he won't be able to kill me, and I'll just annoy him enough to get him to listen.
If you want to do that, be my guest.
But it's a last-ditch effort. If it has to come to that, we'll keep it on the side tables of like a Plan Z or whatever.
yes. Anyway, back to the mage thing. Well, you can try and bribe a researcher of prominence.
Or druids.
Do you know of any?
I look over to Aurora.
Yes, you can. Can you teleport people? He says to Aurora.
And if not, surely there's druidic groves around here that are willing to do so. We've even encountered dryads. Surely they can do the same thing druids can, right? They're more forest-kin than the people who than
Oh,
druids,
this I
right?
can tell you for a fact that they cannot. Depending on the dryad's disposition, their longevity of their existence, depending on which, they actually, depending on the seasons, he starts yapping about the dryads and his absurdly vast amounts of knowledge about the mystical creatures of the dryad race. He begins listing them from Spriggans all throughout, like their variants and whatnot.
Is it the yes or no?
Oh, sorry. You, no. Apologies. You get the sense. You now see where Das gets it from.
Oh,
Dash is off to the side, kind of nodding. Just like, yep, that's what I remember.
well, I mean, considering the fact that you know about how there's the fight between the Emperor and stuff, surely there's been connections between the Emperor and his people. What are they called? The Grails? You can beg to them for help, maybe.
The Empire for help?
Well,
I mean-
considering you care for the people as much as I do, any help matters. I mean, you agreed to the Drow plan after all.
Indeed. I believe they may be more of a definitive no than the Drow or the criminals. Only for the sole reason of Well, guess from a political standpoint, I can understand it. I don't. It's not that they don't want to act. It's that if they do act, is to stop the Hydra from using that as an excuse to declare war. He's done something similar before, and you recall the story about the Storm Giants.
Yeah, the Frost Giants.
That's not Frost Giants, no Storm.
So you're telling me not even a divine intervention from the gods can help in the situation too about teleportation? Well,
I mean,
considering there's gods of knowledge, these gods of knowledge can give you the information you seek about finding the people who can help in these circumstances, right? With your divine intervention? A meaningless task for something to say more is more than a righteous thing for a worshipper of these gods, right?
I wish it were that easy. You see, in order for these gods of knowledge to be fueled, you first have to be a student, and
Well,
do you know what students do
you're-
best? They learn. So we
You're a
in turn have to
teacher.
learn. Well, underneath the gods and the goddess herself, I am but a student. Alas, in terms of what you're asking, with what you've said before, I have contacts of the Underdark. I have contacts of the Syndicate. I do not have Druidic Grove contacts. As such, it is best to firstly, as a good student would, learn about these predicaments. Now, the Drow can whisk them out, but where would they whisk them to? The crime syndicates can whisk them out, but how would they do it?
Well,
If it is just as simple as teleportation, it can be easily tracked and traced and perhaps
What about
trapped
the
by the
aspects
Hydra
of-
himself.
smuggling, asking pirates for help.
That I do not have contacts with, and I personally wouldn't know how it would go. But I
Oh,
get the
hold
sense it
on.
would be
Cat's getting sick.
cheaper.
Considering, Mason said, cat, getting something
Ah.
with a cat. Well, well, considering that Priarde himself has been hard at work, trying to keep up with the demands of a lot of people, especially, I'm starting to wonder if he, with his technologies, perhaps, maybe try and figure out teleportation a little bit. I don't know if he's within that school of magic as well, but it wouldn't hurt to ask him, perhaps. I mean, teleportation itself via arcane is
Wouldn't hurt at all. I
traceable.
mean, it's probably within his. Could be within his wheelhouse. If the man can make a warforged army, I think he can make a few circles.
And
What's up?
and when you said that teleportations were what's the word, traceable, right? The war labs itself, I'm assuming you've already known this, that a lot of some magics are nullified in that location. Magic comes back in a day through one night, and form of communications
Alright,
are
I'm
completely
back.
shut off from that location. So
News
I
to me.
mean,
I didn't know about that. He
Sorry
says
about
as
that.
he just told him information he doesn't know.
he go ahead and pulls out his war lab notes and kind of pulls out and then shares the findings of the war lab's technical details
Okay.
within the arcane, and kind of shares it a little bit with him.
Yeah, and he just says, "Sounds like to me the best course of action is to know what the full plan is before we do anything."
Well, that means corroborating with a lot of people from across a lot of cities and towns, and with sending being down, it's gone a bit difficult. I wonder, actually, you know what? Now that I've learned it, I haven't actually checked how fast is the courier these days.
Horseback, Pigeon, Raven,
Well,
sometimes Warforged.
what about druidic messaging? They can do that, right?
Animals usually a bit slower.
Usually, but I believe, if I'm not wrong, if druidics can fully command be a direct path without any leeways, right?
I don't know, can they?
Look at Aurora.
Hmm. If I don't know, she wouldn't know. No offense.
Being a father and teacher is one thing, but there should be some things that a child hides from their parent.
Yeah, like the
Well,
fact
that's
that they
also-
can apparently go toe to toe with a vampire, but
Well, I mean,
I feel she's a lot stronger. I just don't know how much. Doesn't strike me as the can make a supersonic raven sort of deal strong, you know?
No, not fast, sure, but stable and consistent, definitely. And Dash starts to pull out the majority of notes that he's been taking of this conversation since yesterday. And right, so who would be the few key personnel should we discuss with first? Friarde, absolutely, and he writes down Friarde as like one Friarde. Who else?
Friade,
Mira.
your master. Mira, and then when we hear back from them, the Sovereign of War.
Right. So name Friarde, and then who is it? Your master again? Sorry.
Mira,
right.
my master.
Meera. Sorry.
Mira.
Oh, just Mira, straight up. Okay. Like Siege. Sorry. Let me put that in a little note.
And then I guess it would be whoever can lead the drows to the evacuation of the people of Allhome once we figure out this way of going about getting people to safety.
Friarde, Mira, and hopefully Sovereign of War.
Oh, I can deal with I can ask with the drow contacts, although, of course, with this messaging.
And what about the crime syndicate? Surely they'll know a couple pirates here and there that are willing to escort via boat.
We are, like I said before, we are already in talks. Oh, my boss is already in talks with them for some sort of help.
Right. You said boats, right? Is it a little bit of a it might be a little bit far stretched to say that Allhome would be worth preparing for an evacuation via boat?
I never said anything about boats.
It's
Well,
more or less
but-
they would be evacuated by Worm into a designated area where a boat would pick them up and ship them to a safer place.
If you can
Right.
organize something like that, that would be great. Yes.
So, Friarde, we know where to find him. Where do we find this Mira? Sorry.
She
In the
is in
Scorchlands.
yes, the very, very, very hot desert. Ugh.
Sovereign Wolf. Anybody else that we should probably note down just in case we run into them?
I mean,
Well-
you're not going to run into them, but if you find yourself in the Underdark, close to here, you'll find yourself in the Great Undersea. Sail perhaps 2 weeks south of the Great Undersea, and then 1 day to the west, you'll find yourself in a cluster of islands, and amongst those islands is a place called Tyven Alashtar, and that is that is the place of my contact.
Noted.
Mhm.
It's all connected.
Everything it's all connected. It's all conscious together. Right. Type another star. I'm gonna put that down.
Darn. In Escadora's history, in their brief history, I wonder which surface folk they are in contact with. You guys should read up on that one. House
who's the
Escadora.
one-
Not actual Escadora, House Escadora.
And who is the one to hand deliver them a bunch of people for sacrifices? in the attempted escape, in the attempted safety of his people.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Fucking Christ.
But of course,
Okay.
these are also optionals.
But footnotes on the ground, at least. They may
Indeed,
be wobbly, but they're still there.
these are good ideas, and I'll make sure to bring them up to my boss as well. See if he adheres to any of them and trashes anything else as he normally does. But we can't really get anything done without actually visiting the big man, aka the steel maker
Heart of gold.
himself.
Oh, someone else.
Oh yes, we have to go to Friardo.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess he is a steel maker.
Maker.
Well, wouldn't he be the gold melder then? To make it easy,
So-
to make it, cooler since he makes golden engines?
Oh no, that's his actual title. He is the steel maker.
Well, I'll be.
I feel like gold
So-
melder would have been better because he makes golden engines.
Tell it
Missed
to the
opportunity.
tell it to my boss. He's the sovereign of commerce and whatnot. He does the whole. He makes everything
Naming
flashy.
convention.
He's technically in charge of the newspaper.
Well,
Yeah.
consider that my voiced complaints then from a very vocal person
Take-
amongst the people.
Take it up to our heralds of the whole. We have one in every city. I've heard this before so many times.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so-
Anyways,
So, list of priorities. Friarde, top of the list, of course. Sovereign of War is hopeful, right? And Mira is dedicated. We need full preparation for that. So, come back to the War Lab and try and go to Scorched Lands, or is that a little bit too extreme?
well, we need to try and find somebody to help us navigate the Scorched Lands. People who go there normally to explore, those of have expertise in the area of travel.
You'll
can help
find
us get there
those.
faster.
You'll probably find those sort of people in Tempest Bay. I believe they station themselves there purely for that.
Yes.
So the fact that you'd want to go back to Friare and then go look for your master, and during that time, I will perhaps get the message as to what to do with the Sovereign of War.
And in that time, I can deliver my message to my family.
Any well, considering that sending is down, right? Any messages between us specifically is Thanatos and Warlab. No other ley lines, right? Any physical messages going through letters, anything. Thanatos and Warlab, direct communication between us. Yes. No, nothing towards Tempest Bay. Nothing else, right?
There wasn't one to begin with. This War Lab is not an official town or anything.
Not yet, considering the amount of people that might be settling in above the War Lab itself. Might be
Yeah,
named in-
I wanted to turn that place into a new plot of land for my family name.
Yeah, remember the careers only ever went to the War Lab because Alum Quarry was in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is the next nearest town. They've only started knowing about the people living there, so the
Which-
location of the War Lab is also just news to everyone else.
Which, considering the travel back and forth, there should be a good amount of progress where a messaging pinpoint might occur when we get there. Might exist when we get there. Hopefully.
Maybe. I mean, the only reason your letter got delivered to you in the first place was because Farshade City got destroyed for Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
They're like, oh, okay, Finn stays at Farshade City. I'll make sure to note it there. Where's
Yeah, we
Farshade
gotta-
City?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then they had to ask around where people in the Farshade City went. Then yeah, went to
Yeah, we
War
gotta
Lab.
figure out a way to have like an actual guaranteed official communication at least. It doesn't even have to be official. It can be fucking covert, honestly, at this point. But so, we travel back. towards the war lab. Perhaps don't forget we also need to do that errand for that errand for the Friardi as well to get the components for Legend Lore for somebody. And
For you, remember, because you were the one that said you could do it.
fuck, that's right. Shit. Wow. Too many information. Too many data to keep track. My bad. Forgive me. What was the Legend Lore for again? Like in character, by the way. I have not been.
It was for
tracking
like
this.
an
Someone's
item you
weapon?
showed to Friade, right?
Was it me or was it you?
Well, considering I had nothing important, it had to be you, considering you were in the someplace special, or he had something he needed the Legend Lore, and only he
No.
could rely on you to do.
That was your request. Yeah. You guys wanted something. I don't remember as well.
Shit.
It was for Legend Lore, but what was the Legend Lore for?
Friendly,
Fucking-
while you're here, do some research for us, please.
Fucking what was it? Was it for some reason I remember it was like a weapon, or was it about weapon or was it like an item that we had? It was. Oh my god! Holy shit!
I am brain dying right now,
we
too,
have-
about that. Anyways, we have to continue on, because eventually it'll be remembered.
And as you do so, eventually Friarde will not Friarde. Oops, wrong person. Father Nicholas will fetch you lot a horse each to ride.
Damn.
And
You don't get a wagon back? This is so sad.
I know, right?
The freaking that's the sleeper agent cell. The she stays there.
One of the horses were sleeper agents this entire time. We didn't know.
Yeah.
They were mechanical horses.
That's why they're war horses. They're war horses.
They're war forges.
forces.
Yeah.
War
War
horses.
War, that's just completely wrong, no.
War horses.
Well,
War forges.
we can speed this process of travel though. We'll do it city by city instead of per square. This per 3 squares, or just city by city. Anyway, with
please
the
tell me I don't run into my fucking brother at the Spirit Fort by accident.
who knows?
Why do you
Anyway.
not want to? Family reunion's fantastic.
Because he thinks I'm dead, and it's best not to be the random brother that's supposedly dead for 33 years.
Oh,
chilling
mean,
on
you-
his doorstep.
You don't want to be Winchester the fuck out of Sammy.
I mean, have you met your sister? She's probably gonna write to everyone, being like, "Hey, we got everyone. Finn's alive."
Same with my niece. I know, but still,
But yes.
Keep it on the down
Yeah, at least
low.
would be happy to see you though.
All right.
Honestly, I feel like.
That's how I roll a d100.
Oh, jolly.
Jolly good show. We are looking for what we wanted to Legend Lore in the last session before we took on the mission. So it's going to be in the
Yeah.
earliest minutes of the session.
Nice. You make it to this stop, no problem. Sorry,
Uh,
the market's no problem.
The market Sega. Say.
No more of sadly no more of the sweetest murder that you.
There's
you've
no
ever
more
done.
Apple Man.
There's no more Apple Man. There's someone else selling the apples though. It is Apple Woman. She looks equally as dangerous.
I will buy a bushel of apples again.
Okay. You also make this one happy. It seems there's a.
ahead.
You didn't realize there was quite a bit of truth to Father Nicholas's words. These are more. A lot of them are definitely simple folk, and all of them seem to be more normal folk. They just look extremely dangerous. Like the woman that you sold to, she smiled and she was missing most of her teeth, apart from like the front 2 teeth on the bottom row.
Yo, gosh. Thanks,
Yeah,
mister.
gosh, thanks, mister. But you know, you didn't want to really make that joke in front of her because by her sides was just these 2 like mean-looking hooked falchions, and you're like, yeah, you don't want to mess with that sort of woman.
Yeah, friendly. If you can find that legend lore thing, that'd be very nice. And then if you can clip it, that'd be even better.
But yeah, that's 3 silver off of you, but you know, very good apples if you could appreciate them.
I was gonna say, can we probably refill on the basis of travel? I guess I guess
Yeah,
the
yeah.
classic. I guess rations and shit. Fill our water skin. Honestly, Jesus, it might run out along the way.
Don't worry, you don't have to roleplay all of that. I assume your characters do that because it's common sense.
Yeah, stop by the local water well and fill up the water skin. You know,
We
yada
gotta stop
yada.
at the Buckies. Come on,
Yeah, gotta stop at the Buckies.
stop at the Buckies.
Yes.
You know, get some fun stuff.
All right, Bingus, D100 for me.
98.
Nice.
Close enough.
Pretty good. You know that kit that you had bought previously to repair the wagon just in case it broke down again?
Mm-hmm.
It actually comes in handy. There is another person on the side of the road, the same fucking road that these wagons
What
keep
the fuck?
breaking
Always,
down on.
yeah.
Um,
Is it a scam?
yeah,
What's going on?
look, for how good prominence is, the roads don't really see that
The
good of
roads
a
are shit.
maintenance.
It's
Yeah.
like California.
Yeah, this guy was just complaining about potholes, and he's just like, thanks you for your time and actually, like, you know, fixing his wheel. And you guys get very good fed horses off of it. Father Nicholas was
Nice.
impressed you guys are ready for such a thing.
Oh wait, Nicholas is with us.
Nicholas with us? Sorry.
He is. He's wanting the information. Yes.
Oh my
Fair enough.
god. Okay.
From
okay.
he wants to
Um,
meet up with Friarde. Yes, he is.
Yeah, that is actually fair. That is very fair. And plus, he's not exactly working, is he? He
Yes, he says he was replaced
Yeah,
conveniently.
exactly. So.
Convenient.
Conveniently for the plan.
That is why you have Professor Lila now as your professor, not him. My turn. We rolled 3 averages in a row. You guys are lucky as fuck. Holy shit.
Are we? I was about to say, did we manage to buy the fuck of our legend lore? We did, right? How much is it?
Yes.
I'll put it out of my own money, actually.
Yep.
That would be.
And you could have excuse me. You could have bought it in Thanatos.
Okay, good to know. So I'm gonna drop 300 off of my words then. Okay.
Alright, let me stop this sad music as we arrive back at the War Lab and the Rain
Oh
on
yeah, I
the
guess I should stop that too.
What would be a good music for the War Lab, anyways? Like, what would be a great music for it?
I had
Nothing-
Castlevania going.
I got
nothing
Bored
at
of
the
Fight Long Rest. Per usual, yeah. No concrete song, no concrete theme for the War Lab, unfortunately. It shouldn't be like blacksmith, sort of metal clanking sound, right? Or would it be more sci-fi? You think?
If there was a combo of both, that would be it. But at the moment, there would be no music. In fact, you go back to the community, it's working just as well. And you've been reported to, yeah.
Oh my god!
Greetings, nothing to report. As you'd go back down into the War Lab, all of you, alongside Father Nicholas.
I didn't get the time to. I forgot to ask about a botanist's books, botany books.
Oh well. Bit late now, but that's okay. Going down into the War Lab, and then you see what seems to be the War Lab lights ever so slightly dimmed. And you guys only notice because you've been here for so long. And where there once was like bustling activity, there's now an eerie quiet.
Don't like.
Mm.
Das would see very, very clearly, but it is noticeable. This is in the War Lab, right? This is not like above in the ruins.
You are at the entrance of the War Lab when the elevator stops, and you are at that place. Usually, there's like just Warforged, at the entrance. Even sometimes marching up and down. There's usually people as well, or even Friarde at the very entrance, but nothing.
I guess if it's possible, go to the map. I kind of
Is there a
turn to
War
the other-
Lab map?
Was it sorry?
Is there a
Warlab
War
map.
Lab map?
There is. a
There
Warlab
is,
map.
there is, but it would be of the old one. This one's the new, cleaner one, which I don't have a map of yet.
But the entrance would be the same, right?
Yeah,
So if okay, it's fine. But Das kind of looks.
So
That's
it's
a
just a
question
hallway.
about this.
Yeah.
It was completely fine outside, right? Like
Yeah, it was
people were
completely fine
working still,
outside.
right?
Yes.
Right, I'm not the only one who's sensing a little. It's a little bit too quiet, right?
Let me go ahead real quick.
I was about to say I can summon something to look through. Is that okay?
You can do that while I go ahead myself.
I'll
Slowly, but I will go.
go summon my arcane eye at will.
Okay, you summon your arcane eye. As you walk forward slowly, you feel as if you passed something as you walked forwards. And then all of a sudden, what both of you see with your arcane eye and you, Finn, there's the Warforged, the sentinels that are meant to be posted at the entrance. They lay down there at the sides, broken. Couldn't see it before, but they're destroyed.
I fly the arcane eye just as quickly as possible to the rest of the hallway, and
Father Nicholas enters and he goes, what's happening? What's going on?"
Church would be the most likely. The engines destroyed. Slump down. I'll keep looking. I'll rush the arcane eye.
As the arcane eye rushes, it goes to where you fought, where that large fountain was, and where you fought the
the corrupted golden engine. That's right.
the corrupted golden engine. Around the fountain are like a series of just computation engines that are as well as like just these weird sort of Friade set them up as these sort of just factory-based engines that are like automated to put in and sort of install the minds of the Warforged and create them into the Warforged themselves. This part of the factory, as it were, is pristine, but not in operation. It's meant to be the opposite. It's meant to be
Dirty
it's
and
meant
work.
to be no, not dirty, but it's meant to be crowded here. And this is where you usually find Friade.
Just from looking back, sorry, the machines that were slumped, were they just broken malfunction as in no power, or were there actual damage
There was actual damage in them.
caused by?
What type of damage?
Yeah, caused by
Make an
piercing flash.
investigation check as you bring your eye back.
I actually hop off of my eye and walk in myself if it's possible,
Okay.
and have the eye
And
kind of.
Finn's already in the investigating the body. All right, 20. All right, 20 and 21. Both are pretty good. All sorts. Elemental. Physical. All sorts. Whatever it was hit by a barrage of targets.
Is there expelled casings as a retaliation from the Warforged?
With that investigation check, no. They're caught by surprise, it seems.
How the
I
hell do you
turn-
catch a machine on surprise?
You tell me. I turn to Father Nicholas. Right. Talking about bearing.
Well,
Do I have this spell?
let's hurry, but you will have to lead the way.
Of course,
see.
absolutely. Are you good to bear arms? Do you have any
I have arms, yes.
weapons? But right, Aurora, let's scout this out. Finn, weapons out.
They
as I-
disappear in my
as I-
hands.
As I keep moving, my main body, I'm gonna have stick close to Finn, like SWAT, kind of hold onto his shoulder if possible. I don't know how tall he is, but
I'm 6
I'm
foot.
seeing.
If you're seeing through the arcane eye, it would be very hard to jog alongside the rest.
very difficult. But I
I
actually
can
Very
easily carry him.
I pull the arcane eye back to where we are and have it be scouting 30 feet ahead of us.
If you-
Actually, as we move in.
If you carry him, he won't be able to concentrate on it. Imagine trying to concentrate on something while, like, essentially riding like something rougher than a horse.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah,
I'll go ahead and just call the arcane eye back without looking through it. I just have it next to me just in case.
no problem. Yes,
could I
Aurora?
summon some giant wolf spiders to, roam around just in case.
They only last for a minute. You sure?
Hold action.
Yeah, hold action.
Hold action means hold action. The spell has to trigger in the next round or it fizzles.
And it wastes a spell slot.
Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can hold cantrip.
You can hold a cantrip. Yes. It prevents people from doing exactly this and summoning
Yeah.
something as soon as something comes out.
Which
It's a good D&D balance.
there are no sounds of people. No sound, right? Silent.
Make a perception check.
Just quiet. I am 20.
20.
You can't hear me.
Very faintly. In the next corridor, there are sounds of automatons, like the Warforged, creaking about, but are otherwise still, and conversation. One from Friarde and one from another person you don't know.
I descend in my eye first, in like the top, ascend in my eye first, high corner on the ceiling, and just look through it.
As
peek,
soon as
and
it turns the corridor, it vanishes.
fucking, I come out of it kind of like, fuck, anti-magic. Forgot about that. Fortunate. Right, so Finn's going first.
You know, that nervous laugh really doesn't help.
Doesn't.
I will go ahead and use the ability of my Blood Moon boots to move very slowly, but silently.
Not a problem. As you do so, as you round the corner, you see Friarde actually in some sort of like tense conversation with what looks to be a man in the description that you had dreaded all this time to see, but has been described to you before. Slick back black hair, black hair as well. In white robes with blue trim. The whitest robe signifying that of a researcher, but the blue trim signifying that of a royal guard. Those put together can only mean one person of his station. As he turns back and he says, stops briefly in his mid-conversation. As he turns back, you see the plain white mask of the Hydra. As he has, notably, when he shows up to places, notably there are his most notable feature, which you don't see anywhere, are his 9 staves that float around him, but you don't see any there. But you don't hear a voice from that direction. You guys hear a voice from behind you, and he says, and it says, "Well now, I was not expecting this sort of company. Friarde, I didn't think you'd be the one to hire outside." And you guys turn to see behind you the same exact visage, but with the 9 staves that are floating around him, and him clutching a 10th on his hand, and he says, "And to whom do I have the pleasure?" He says, bowing. And that's where we'll end the session.
Oh no! He got to him first.
Friarde is there defensive, ready, and behind Friarde,
No.
that was the first thing you saw. But as you pan out and lessen your tunnel vision, behind Friarde is an entire army of Warforged and the golden engine behind them. Look, Friade, whatever is about to happen, Friade was ready to throw down. But it seems, contrary to popular belief, you would, only Dassar would know this. The Hydra usually makes his appearances with 1 or 2, 3 staves at best. This is the Hydra with 9 staves around him. This must be
And
the
But
real
said there
deal.
was 10.
Yeah.
He has a 10th that he is clutching.
Yeah. This is the whole 9 yards. This literally the whole 9 yards. But oh man,
So, am I
I
also
am-
being watched too?
Oh, is it sorry?
Yeah, I was also being watched too, right?
You turn the corridor and you see him. Then you turn back, you see him. Oh fuck.
Ah,
You see your friends and then you see him.
how are we agreed upon that either Friarde is super convinced or he's charmed? I am so glad I prepped the spell magic, if that's even possible. I don't know how to spell magic work with charm.
he's going to counterspell you at the max level.
Nah. Like,
No, they were intense conversation before. You don't think Fridade's not charmed. He's got shit against that, don't worry.
god damn it.
Well, let's hope I can smooth talk my way out of this. Holy fuck, I've been able to do this so far.
You are the noble. You are the noble. This is gonna go great.
People were thinking they could outmaneuver the very person that was single-handedly carrying this kingdom. But, you know, it's fine. He doesn't know of everyone. That's why he said, "Oh, Friade, I didn't know you were hiring outside. You guys have a chance. Use it well."
Yeah, we do. We just either we be full honest about this and just say that we got back from an errand in Thanatos. Friarde, or fuck.
At least Friendly believes in me. I have that at least. That's all that matters.
This is gonna be great.
Oh boy, good luck with this.
I don't want to do next week.
There hasn't been many showcases of this man, of the Hydra. So you gotta fight him. You can certainly try.
Ah, yes. I would love to be time stopped and immediately just touched and
Yes.
die.
Yep, I was about to say, like, yes, fighting a demigod. Probably even a god himself, I don't know. Like, at
Yes,
this point.
3 level 10s and a whatever level cleric that's half a
3.
demon.
And Friarde, and an entire Warforged army.
Mm-hmm.
Neutrality, I guess. Not make a friend per se, but just stay alive. I don't.
I mean, just as a spoiler, here's a. If you were to fight him, I already have like his phases in mind. Here's first.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's got a very good title for what he
I
can
feel
do.
I feel like okay, so timeline of events, right? This is just my theory, right? Motherfucker came in unannounced, okay? Killed the destroyed the Warforges, right? And immediately Friarde notices, Friarde says everybody else leave, and he just stays, right? And then the rest of the Warforge, whatever there is behind his back. And now it's just it was just Hydra, Friarde, Warforge, and Hydra's clones and shit, right? Simulacrum. And then we came in at the horribly wrong time. Was there even anybody on the top? By the way, was there anybody on top of the ruins? Nobody?
Nope. Not directly on top of the ruins. There's
No,
nobody.
sorry. Like the tents and at least the settlements that are, you know, that.
Oh,
other
yeah,
people
there
have-
was. Yeah. There was
Okay.
people to talk to. Like
Okay.
they told you nothing amiss.
He 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 operated within the within the grounds of the War Lab. Shit. Oh man, we don't like this. We don't.
It's just planning after planning until BAM! The major
This
decision.
isn't even a wrench in our plan. This is just this is a straight up boulder in it. Like
We got hit with the monkey wrench.
we got.
You guys- No, you guys did amazing planning, by the way. It's just.
The circumstances say that otherwise.
Yeah, this person is. He's a bit much. But it's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
You guys have a chance. I'll leave it to you for next week, though. I'm gonna go get some food. Alright.
Same here, actually.
GG's,
Hungry.
guys. Thanks for playing. Thanks, cameraman.
Thanks for
GG.
DMing. Do something to God damn it.
Next-
So what
next
did you
session
do
I'll
for
have-
Pokemon?
Yeah, next session I'll have friendly pilot the Hydra to kill you guys. You'll have some fun.
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
Wait, what?
Good luck with that.
There's too much that he can do. Yeah.
What's his accent?
He sounds a bit like this. You know, nothing too special. Just because the DM doesn't have a clue as to what a mass genocidal maniac would really sound like, so just a bit
Okay.
like this.
Look at Dexter.
Dexter. Probably.
Go-
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
He's Dexter.
Fucking exactly.
Go watch a clip.
I-
Clyde, go see a snippet of Dexter and listen to how he talks.
Um,
That is how
Very- very
someone like that talks.
It's so terrifying. So
Where's Dexter?
no, but I
Dexter's
cannot. If
laboratory?
it does happen, though, friendly playing the Hydra, I cannot wait for the. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself.
No, he watched. Oh, baby. Man,
I don't know.
It's getting better. No, holy shit.
what?
I have not seen that
Have you
movie.
has he not seen the movie? Probably not.
Yeah, did
I'm
too.
not.
Oh, unfortunate. God, man, God,
That's
that
amazing.
no, no, friendly. You definitely had a lot of good references for him now. Yeah, but
Okay,
it's so good. It's so good.
I already forgotten.
Hungry. Alrighty. GG's. Time for some food.
Gotta go too.
Jeez.
Games, boys. GG's.
Yo, GG.